After struggling to graduate with a master's degree, Su Mu became an illiterate and popular influencer. Now we have good news and bad news. Good news, everyone knows me. Bad news, everyone knows I am illiterate. Years later, when facing reporters, Su Mu made a profound summary of himself. I, Su Mu, have achieved today's success by studying hard and studying hard. The journalist across from him remained resolute and said, "But we have always wanted to ask, how could studying hard come out of your mouth?" Su Mu remained silent, he just silently opened the system interface. You have read Appreciation of 30 poems and obtained the work Acacia with 1 skill point. You have read Youth Love Story and obtained I skills. Deep Gaze, skill points *2". Do you want to use it? Use it, and by the way, top up my martial arts skills. I want to face this journalist alone. The atmosphere in the entertainment industry needs to be rectified. The author has a high order of 30,000 copies of the entertainment novel, debuting at the Queen's concert. Don't write randomly, so you can rest assured to read it. If you are interested in old books, you can also take a look, but that one was a bit immature in the early stage. Keywords of the novel. I am not an illiterate top streamer without pop-ups, I am not an illiterate top streamer. Download the complete set of TXT, I am not an illiterate top streamer reading the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Flow Sewers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Flow Sewers Dixing, Chang'an City. Chiming Entertainment Artist Apartment, Room 502. Wow. Su Mu picked up a handful of water and threw it onto his face, then quickly lifted his head and looked at the mirror in front of him. That self in the mirror has a cut, but still looks good. Eyebrows thick and straight, nose bridge high and straight, facial contours clear but not overly sharp. Is it me in the mirror? Su Mu looked puzzled. Although as a senior reader at the starting point, Su Mu knows that having such a face is both reasonable and logical. Although this face bears some resemblance to my own appearance. But at this moment, only Zhang Mozi's words were in Su Mu's mind. This is really not me. So what exactly is going on? Su Mu remembers that she was clearly present at the master's thesis defense, but when she read her gratitude, her eyes darkened due to her emotional excitement. When I woke up again, I found myself in a strange house. Looking in the mirror, my face changed. What kind of situation? Before Su Mu could finish speaking, a surging memory surged into his mind and quickly flowed. Earth Star, China. Time travel. Su Mu sat on the toilet, his face turning pale and he almost didn't cry. Don't make a fuss, I passed the civil service exam and finally managed to get through the graduation defense. Can you tell me that I have traveled through time? The current world is called Earth, which is roughly similar to Earth but with different details. Very different. For example, in this world, several dynasties of China have lasted for a longer period of time. Although China experienced a period of decline in the late Ming dynasty, it quickly achieved revival and remains the most powerful country on Earth to this day. This strength is reflected in various dimensions, including economy, military. Even in the field of entertainment, China began a series of supportive policies 5 years ago, such as copyright protection. For example, the undergraduate rate in China is 15%, and scholars are highly valued. But the more so, the more desperate Su Mu's expression became at this moment. Because the body he traveled through was illiterate. The recognized type. From the memory just received, it can be seen that the body Su Mu traveled through has the same name as him, and he is 23 years old this year. Identity is a traffic fresh meat. The status of the martial arts world can be summarized in one sentence. The sewer in the flow, and the blue-silver grass in the martial soul. 5 years ago, the domestic entertainment industry began to receive certain support. 4 years ago, when he failed the college entrance examination and was preparing to enter the field for screwing, he was discovered by the agent of Chiming Entertainment, Xie Chen, and became a model. In the same year, the entertainment giant Tianqing Entertainment launched the first domestic talent show, When Idols Were Born. At that time, Qiming Entertainment was a third-rate entertainment company, and in order to support the big shots of Tianqing, they pushed their original models up to make up the numbers. At that time, the original body knew nothing. But as the audience watched the clumsy and beautiful original body on stage, which was full of ugliness, it actually aroused a strong desire for protection. Do you see that only a novice like this can appreciate the joy of cultivation? This is the stupid husband I want. As a result, Genshin Impact made it to the finals with just one face and debuted in a group with 3 male artists under Tianqing Entertainment, named Winning Man, abbreviated as WM Group. The WM Group is operated by Tianqing Entertainment, so although they were originally under the Qiming Entertainment, they are mostly managed by Tianqing Entertainment. That year, WM Group reached its peak in debut and became the first generation of top-notch fresh meat in China. Make records, shoot idol dramas, and have fun playing. Fans praised the 4 of them wildly, while passers-by spat at them. But they are like fire, and the old actors that passers-by like have to be matched on set. Disagree. You fuck me. As a result, someone really took action. 2 years ago, Huagua established a Film and Television Industry Association according to the plan, and promulgated a film and television grading system and actor assessment system. The Guild has a great standard for reviewing film and television scripts, but all scripts will be classified into 4 categories based on the theme and investment amount after submission. Historical dramas are mostly in Category A, youth idol dramas are mostly in Category C, and online movies with an investment amount of less than 2 million are mostly in Category D. Actors have also set up an introductory assessment, and those who fail the assessment are not allowed to play the leading role in Class D film and television works, and are not allowed to play the leading role in Class C or above film and television dramas. The so-called entrance examination is the Social People Film and Television Actor Qualification Certificate Entrance Examination, held by guilds, abbreviated as the Shadow Examination. After passing the examination, one is considered to have entered the industry. The film exam is held once a week, with mentors from major art schools serving as assessors. The Guild also recorded the weekly film exam and created a program called Actors, Please Depart, for everyone to watch. The rules for the shadow exam are very simple, and candidates will immediately select segments to perform, with only 2 entry criteria. 1. Can clearly express emotions such as joy, anger, sadness, and joy. 2. Be able to recite lines with full emotion and grasp basic phrases, stress, etc. according to the requirements of the situation. Is it difficult? It may not seem difficult, but you have many so-called stars on Earth. Give it a try. Can we kill half of it, believe it or not? The WM Group of 4 also thinks this thing is not difficult. Back in the day when Lousy was on the set, he would give a thumbs up to any director he played. A shadow exam trying to stop me. Fuck him. So after the rules were introduced, the WM Group of 4 confidently went to take the film exam. Fans have bought many building advertising screens in CBD areas of major cities to support them. Let the 4 of them charge me and let them know what acting is. Let them know what Holang means. As a result, Su Mu, the original character, pronounced Shen Shui Zi as Xin Shui Zi. The other 3 teammates laughed while playing a crying scene. One can only stare. One person pronounced Playboy as Boastful Child. The group of 4 is completely destroyed. That day, the internet exploded. Sleeping trough, can't you pronounce your lines correctly? How did these people act in TV dramas before? I'm afraid these few people don't even have junior high school education, do they? Isn't it too much to even recognize characters? Fans are also confused. Why did I enjoy watching them act before? Did I eat feces before? Not only did I eat, but I also babbled. Brother, you're like this, I'm cracked open. The winning men's group, with its first letter being WM, has been affectionately referred to as the Illiterate group since then. And because of the outstanding performance of the Illiterate group in the film exam, a cultural knowledge exam has been added to the acting assessment since then. For actors with outstanding acting skills, special talents, elderly and children, there are no mandatory requirements for this project, but idols in the entertainment industry are clearly not included in this list. It can be said that the Illiterate group has changed industry rules on its own. Recalling this, Sumu suddenly stood up from the toilet and cursed loudly in front of the mirror, "Isn't this impure Dr. Zhai from another world?" As a paper dog, Sumu's hatred towards Dr. Zhai is unbearable. At this moment, his expression was like that of Chow Kefen, who had just finished eating 9 turns of his large intestine. "You deserve it, why did it get cold in the back?" Sumu cursed at herself in the mirror. Indeed, since then, the original body has started to decline. And it's a continuous steep slope. Because according to the rules of the shadow examination, students who failed the exam 3 months later can be re-evaluated, while their original students took the exam for 2 years and finally experienced their 8th failure half a month ago. 2 years. 8 times. I haven't had any cultural knowledge 3 times and haven't performed 5 times. Such a record is quite explosive in the entire entertainment industry. He's not just someone who doesn't work hard, he's the kind. The kind, let's put it this way, we usually refer to this kind of person as a fool. In the past 2 years, the company has put a lot of effort into him, such as becoming a flight host on Crazy Thursday and participating in various variety shows. But from his original memory, it seems that this guy had some mental problems after failing his 3rd assessment, with a dazed and depressed expression. Even a variety show with such a good state cannot be saved. 2 years without any scenes to shoot, 8 times mocked by the group, without any sense of variety show, there are not 100 fans of the original identity. In addition, more than a dozen films and TV dramas that were previously signed were put on hold due to the failure of Genshin Impact's exam. The production companies have filed lawsuits, and Genshin Impact has lost all the money he earned since his debut. He still owes around 2 million yuan. 3 days ago, he was officially dismissed from the WM Boy Group and completely returned to his original company, Chiming Entertainment. And he has less than 3 months left on his contract with Chiming Entertainment. He doesn't know what the company will do with him. However, it can be confirmed that the company will no longer invest any resources in him, and according to the nature of the entertainment company, the original body is most likely to face endless small-scale commercial performances, such as going to 4th and 5th-tier cities to explore. That way, you will suffer from old troubles. After returning to Chiming Entertainment, he stayed indoors for 3 days and then died of emo due to concerns about the future. After digesting the memories of her original body, Sumu fell silent. Returning to Earth, Sumu is no longer extravagant. But look at your original situation, how will you live the rest of your life? Continue to be a celebrity. Sumu is not interested, nor can she. Mainly not. But what if you're not a celebrity? His contract with Chiming Entertainment is still there. I need to find a way to escape, whoever likes to be this celebrity. Sumu walked out of the bathroom with a bitter face. The original residence was a small 2-bedroom apartment of about 70 square meters, which was relatively clean and tidy. In the living room, there is a sofa, a coffee table, and a jump rope and sit-up assistive device on the ground. Sumu kicked away the jump rope on the ground and walked straight to the water dispenser. He took a cup of water and poured it down with a thud, gradually awakening his mind. The top priority is to terminate the contract as soon as possible. Sumu began to stroll around the room with a water glass in hand. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Take the civil service exam. As long as he passes the civil service exam, his contract with Chiming Entertainment will be terminated. Sumu smiled and exclaimed that this wave had stabilized. Because he has taken the exam once on Earth after all. Just within 2 seconds of being happy, Su-mu's expression froze. He has a master's degree from Earth, and his current body. I haven't even gone to college, so I can't meet the educational requirements for taking the civil service exam. And Su-mu also remembered something, which was that although he didn't have a degree, he had a foreign debt of 2 million. 2 million is not a big deal for celebrities. But ordinary people may never finish it in their lifetime. 6. Su-mu sat down on the sofa in anger, and a few seconds later he began murmuring to himself, "Do you really want to be a star for a few more months? After all, this thing makes a name for itself quickly." Upon realizing this, Su-mu took out her original phone and logged into her Weibo backend, ID, Su-mu, Certified Artist, label. A teenager who loves to perform, this label was added by the company at the time, because his original voice was suddenly explosive. Although his voice was good, his pitch was not good, and his singing skills were even worse. If he had received proper training for a period of time, perhaps he could still sing, but at that time, the company was eager to make money, so they directly set a film and television route for him to cheat money. After all, playing the role of a senior with facial paralysis and having someone voice it doesn't require any acting skills. Su-mu continued to look down. Number of fans: 2.28 million, number of active fans: 1256, daily fan change 0.260000, annual fan change 10.8 million. Last night, Genshin posted a Weibo post with sincere words and tears streaming down his face. "Although I left the winning man boy band, that time was my best memory. Although I experienced failure again, I know you are still with me. I will definitely work hard for the next film exam. I know my problem is that my knowledge reserve is too limited, so from today on, I will study hard and study diligently to live up to everyone's expectations." Followed by a picture, which shows 2 books. A book titled, Appreciation of 30 Ancient Poems, Youth Edition. A book called, Walking into a Dialogue Class. The original intention is very obvious: one of these 2 books supplements basic culture, and the other improves acting skills. But it was this dynamic that scared 260,000 fans to run away overnight. "Sorry, I just forgot to close it before and didn't expect anything from you. Thank you. It's been 2 years now. Do you know how I've been through these 2 years? I'm just waiting for your film exam. Your film exam clips are even more enjoyable than skits. You've cured my depression, so hurry up and sign up for the next film exam. Read more and learn more. You can deceive yourself, don't deceive your buddies. How could studying hard come from your mouth? And how old are you? Are you still reading the youth version of ancient poetry? Yesterday, I was watching these comments and emo died." Putting down his phone, Su-mu couldn't even speak. Who wouldn't emo in this situation? Stars are quick to make money, but that's popular, but the current situation of the original body has nothing to do with fire. Even the entertainment industry seems to be struggling to survive. Su-mu sat slumped on the sofa, her eyes beginning to lose focus. If Su-mu had a deep understanding of the entertainment industry and literary works on Earth in his past life, then he might have turned the tables. But unfortunately, he is just a paper dog. He has almost no knowledge or interest in the entertainment industry. His jihu is used to search for ways to reduce the weight of papers, and when he registered on Weibo, he only went to greet Dr. Zhai on Weibo in the dead of night. His leisure activities include finishing experiments and reading novels every day, or going to Bilibili to watch videos. His understanding of cultural and entertainment works almost entirely comes from the edited videos on Bilibili. What about The True Nature of Heroes, starring Fan Debiao and Ma Deshui, Lin Daiyu pulling down willows, and Jiang Xinji, starring Gao Qiqiang and an Xian? I remember a lot of famous movies and TV shows, and I haven't watched all the serious TV dramas. Songs can remember chorus, but only a few lines. Thinking of this, Su-mu felt as if he had completely finished his life. Based on this situation, I really need to go to third. and 4th-tier cities for a visit. But 2 million, how many holes do we need to walk? Furthermore, will they leave me or will I leave them? At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out in Su Mu's mind. Ding Zhixing Entertainment System has been bound. System. Su Mu sat up directly from the sofa. Damn it. How did you come? The voice in my mind mechanically rang out. The host property panel has been generated. As the sound sounded, a virtual panel appeared in front of Su Mu. Host. Su Mu, age. 23, occupation. Idol type celebrity, already posted, attribute. Basic, breath. D, 3/20, plus, basic, pronunciation. E, 9/10, plus, specialized skills. Performance, crying scenes. E, 4/10, plus, music-related music theory general education. D, 6/20, plus, skill point. 0, skill points can be used to exchange for artistic skills and increase the host's existing skills, work blind box. 0, deep reading card 0, warm reminder, please use with caution for deep reading. As rows of information appeared, Su Mu's eyes gradually widened. Can we add more points? And blind boxes for works. What about deep reading? The sound of the system continues to sound. In this system setting, there are only 2 ways for the host to receive rewards. Read books or complete random tasks published by the system. The beginner guidance task for Zhixing Entertainment System has been activated. Beginner Guide Task 1. Please ask the host to carefully read a book, task reward. Several skill points, work blind box *1, the Duke of Literature and Art cannot achieve anything without effort. Whether it is excellent literary and artistic works, good acting skills, or the empathy required in singing skills, they all rely on cultural accumulation and observation of the world, and reading is one of the most effective ways. Kind reminder, all tasks issued by this system are advisory tasks and not mandatory. The host can do or not do them. Reading. Su Mu squinted his eyes. Do you really treat me as illiterate? The illiterate one is Earth Star Su Mu. What does it matter to me, Earth Su Mu? However, although he roast, Su Mu had a clear idea. The so-called suggestion tasks in the system are like the advice of many mentors during their graduate studies. I suggest you stay at school during the summer vacation to do experiments. I suggest that if you insist on submitting this article, do not include my name. These suggestions are actually translated as one sentence. You must listen to advice, my child, otherwise you will die. Book. Su Mu stood up and scanned the surroundings. Quickly, he found 2 books on the coffee table. A book titled Appreciation of 30 Ancient Poems, Youth Edition. A book called Walking into a Dialogue Class. It's the 2 books where the original person posted a dynamic photo on Weibo last night. At this moment, in Su Mu's eyes. Surprisingly, a progress bar appeared on each of those 2 books. At the end of the progress bar, there is a button in the shape of a treasure chest. Su Mu rubbed her hands, picked up one of the books, and started reading. The new book set sail, hoping everyone will enjoy it. Collecting and requesting tickets, everyone. End of this chapter. Have you ever heard of Wang Wei's lovesickness in Chapter 2? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Have you ever heard of Wang Wei's lovesickness in Chapter 2? Su Mu opened Appreciation of 30 Ancient Poems. The reason is simple, because this book is thin and easy to read. He wants to know early on what the system's tasks will look like after completion. Turning to the first page of the book, Su Mu carefully read the preface. During this process, he discovered many poets on Earth, such as Li Bai, Du Fu, Wang Wei, and others, as well. The difference between China in this world and China on Earth is mostly after the Ming dynasty. In his sight, the virtual progress bar on this book slowly moved up to 2%. Slowly, Sumu looked inside. But seeing only the first one, Sumu couldn't hold his breath because there were actually notes from his original body inside. For example, the first poem of this book is Zhang Jiuling's Reflections. One of them. The first 4 sentences. The orchid leaves are lush in spring, and the osmanthus flowers are bright in autumn. We are delighted with this business and welcome it as a holiday. Circle the 2 characters, Wei, in their original form and label them with pinyin, W. These 2 words are too rare, putting them at the beginning will make readers feel a sense of giving up. I wrote at the end. Sumu's face darkened as he said, "Is that the point, big brother? Do you have anything serious to do?" Not only that, but the original text also wrote after the sentence, Xin this business, since it is a festival. Does this sentence mean that one day the business was too good, so it became a shopping festival from then on? It's like Double 11 now. Later, the original text crossed out this sentence. I guess it was after reading the translation on the last page. Finally, the original author wrote his own comment after this poem. It's a good poem, but I can't understand it. Sumu flipped directly to the second song. The second one is Meng Haren's Spring Dawn. Sleeping in spring without realizing dawn, I can hear birds singing everywhere. At night, the sound of wind and rain comes, and I know how many flowers are falling. The original text of this poem also has annotations. Good poetry, learned in elementary school. I suddenly had a feeling and also wanted to write a song. Shadow examination, spring sleeps without realizing it, everywhere is a worry. If you don't pass the exam next time, fans still have to run. Sumu threw the book onto the sofa, feeling dizzy and bloated. His mind is now filled with Wang Feng's emoji. This kind of person, he's crazy. But a few seconds later, Sumu sighed imperceptibly again. In fact, he accepted the memories of his original body, so he knows why his original body is like this. Probably too lonely. He originally knew nothing, but he was driven to the top spot due to his face. His personality is somewhat mischievous, just like how he wrote a song called Shadow Examination, based on Spring Dawn. But this kind of skin only exists when one is alone from the door. Because my intelligence is not high, I have failed time and time again, and then I feel insecure and sensitive. Additionally, due to experiencing ups and downs, I don't have many close friends around me. How lonely does a person have to be to write so many messy things in a book? In fact, if I hadn't become a celebrity, my original self might have been a very happy mistress. But unfortunately, I chose the wrong line. Or rather, the world was born wrong. If it were on Earth, wouldn't it take off? Forget it. Sumu sighed and bent down to pick up the book he had just thrown on the sofa. The corner of his mouth moved and he murmured, "We have to live, don't we?" I don't know if I'm speaking to myself or to my non-existent self. Then he flipped the book to the next page. An hour later, Sumu closed the book and he finally finished reading it. It has to be said that Sumu had a bit of a task-oriented mindset when reading this book at first, but after reading it for a long time, he really immersed himself in it. The beauty of artistic conception and writing in ancient poetry. Reading it is indeed a kind of enjoyment. And just as he closed the book, a voice rang out in his mind. Congratulations to the host for completing Beginner Guidance Task 1. Task Reward 1. Work blind box *1 inch Task Reward 2. The reading time for this session is 1.2 hours, with a reward of 1 skill point. System prompt. Beginner Guide Task 1 has been completed. After that, the host will receive skill points for each reading based on the reading time, and randomly trigger rewards such as Work Blind Box, and Art Skill Blind Box. Listening to the sound of the system, Sumu gradually realized that this novice guided task was actually gradually introducing him to the rules of the system. At present, for every hour of reading, one will gain 1 skill point. And each reading may also bring other rewards. The sound of the system rang out again. The host has just obtained a blind box for a work. Do you want to use it? This voice pulled Sumu out of his thoughts and said, use it. Soon, in front of Sumu, a golden virtual treasure chest appeared. The next second, the treasure chest opened, accompanied by a voice. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the song Acacia. The score and accompaniment related to this song can be redeemed. Acacia. As the sound of the system fell, the sound of this song rang in Sumu's mind. Red beans born in the southern country are a very distant thing. What is similarity? No one has cared about it for a long time. The most willing to forget ancient poetry, the most disdainful is lovesickness. Guarding love, afraid of people laughing, and afraid of people seeing clearly. When the melody rang in Sumu's mind, he sat up straight from the sofa with a sudden inspiration. This is the ending song from the sequel to Journey to the West. In a daze, Sumu seemed to have returned to the time on Earth, waiting for the TV every day. Time is too long for him to remember the specific plot of the TV drama. But he remembers in that play, a movement would go back and forth several times. Tang Monk knows martial arts. After being banned, the Tathagata reincarnated and started dating. Sun Wukong always likes to say that you collapse before I exerted force. This is my childhood. When she was young, Sumu never listened to the song Lovesickness completely, because as soon as it came to the ending song, the TV station only played a few lines and then started inserting advertisements. But Sumu remembers the feeling this song gave him. Nice to hear, I haven't found any songs with similar artistic conception since I grew up. Acacia. Did I reward this song because I read Tang poetry? In the book that Sumu just read, there is indeed Wang Wei's Lovesickness, but Wang Wei's is a brother, and this song is about lovers. But on second thought, there are many ancient love poems, not just about missing friends. There were one or two songs about missing lovers in that book just now, so the system rewarded this song, which is very reasonable. Standing up from the sofa, Sumu strolled and savored the song carefully, feeling better and better as she tasted it. The most willing to forget ancient poetry, the most disdainful is lovesickness. This kind of word is really amazing. Just this song. Sumu must not be able to sing it himself. Why not publish it? But can this work? Looking at the entire entertainment industry, and even in China, no one knows that Sumu is illiterate. Can illiterate people write this song? This statement is true. With Sumu's current persona, writing such good lyrics is really impressive. It's like a mortal on Earth stepping on a sewing machine and writing a book called Three Body Problem, then happily writing another book called 100 Years of Solitude. Is this reasonable? Just as Sumu was pondering, there was suddenly a thumping sound at the door of his house. Sumu, open the door quickly. The company has arranged for you. Sumu instinctively looked towards the door. Following his original memory, he knew that the owner of this voice was his agent Xie Chen. Before Sumu joined the WM Men's Group, his agent was Xie Chen. However, at that time, Xie Chen was responsible for the modeling business of Qiming Entertainment. Since Sumu became popular 4 years ago, Xie Chen has transformed into a celebrity agent and is said to be doing well. Now that Sumu has been expelled from the WM Boy Group and returned to Qiming Entertainment, Xie Chen remains his agent. Here we go. Sumu stood up and opened the door. Xie Chen, who was in his 30s outside the door, was tall and had a backpack slung across his shoulder. He had a Chinese-style face, a square mouth, and a broad nose, making him look a bit aggressive. And when Sumu opened the door, he happened to be rubbing the dry skin off his face. Not at all particular. Chenggu, Sumu called out according to his original habit, and moved away to signal Xie Chen to come in. Xie Chen patted his face with his hands and said, "I'm not going in anymore. I haven't eaten yet. I haven't eaten yet." Come with me to have breakfast and have a chat. Su Mu didn't eat, but he didn't seem to have much appetite either. As soon as he saw Xie Chen, he remembered his broken identity now, and the thought of dealing with these people in the entertainment industry in the future left Su Mu feeling uncertain. I won't go. I knew you wouldn't go, so I'll have some food with you. I ordered takeout and it'll be there soon. With these words, Xie Chen strode into Su Mu's room and without hesitation, he quickly pulled open the curtains of the living room. Then there were a few clangs, and all the windows were opened. You can't go out, you have to let the sunlight in. The next second, not only did the sunlight fall on Su Mu's face, but a gentle breeze also squeezed in from the window and rushed onto Su Mu, bringing a refreshing sensation. Hey! How does Su Mu feel that this scene is very familiar? The next second, he found the answer in his original memory. A few years ago, when I was still a model, I was also foolish and slow to learn posture, often being scolded by photographers. Every time I get scolded back, I lock myself in the room to sulk. Every time, Xie Chen banged open the door and opened the window after entering the house. Then find an excuse to take Su Mu out like a little chicken. Sometimes I accompany him to eat, sometimes I accompany him to go shopping. Anyway, every time I have a different excuse, it's just that every time I follow Xie Chen out for a walk, that sulky young man is full of energy again. But later on, Su Mu became popular and was borrowed by Tianqing, so the two of them had less contact. Xie Chen muttered while opening the window, after you come back, you've locked yourself in the house for 3 days. It's time to go out and take a walk. If you keep it closed, you'll have problems. Su Mu sat back on the sofa and roasted in his heart that he had died last night because of his concern. Xie Chen casually pulled up a chair and sat down, asking, I heard that when you were in Tianqing, you didn't like to see people after failing your 4th film exam. Su Mu thought for a moment, and at that moment, her original mindset had already gone wrong and she began to remain silent. Hey, I'm afraid of being laughed at. Xie Chen pursed his lips and said, just kidding me, that's all we have. There's nothing we can do. What a big deal, isn't it just that it has become popular and cool again? The emergence of the film exam is a transformation of the entire industry. At least 20.30 fresh meat that has cooled down in the past 2 years, who will remember you? Su Mu. Chenggu is really good at comforting people. As the two spoke, Xie Chen's gaze swept over the book, Appreciation of 30 Ancient Poems, on Su Mu's desk, and his expression instantly became exciting. You really study. Su Mu casually put away the book and said, blind reading. Xie Chen has no doubts about this, and based on his understanding of Su Mu, blindly reading 2 words should not be a humble gesture. Just then, a knocking sound came from the door. Hello, takeout. Xie Chen stood up to pick it up. The delivery person was a white guy with blonde hair and blue eyes, who spoke fluent Chinese. Could you please give me a 5-star rating? It's quite congested on the morning rush hour. Xie Chen chuckled and said, oh, foreign friends, how many years have you been in China? The white guy looked proud and said, 2.5 years, pay social security for another 6 months, and I will be able to obtain a long-term residence permit. Then I will take over my parents. Xie Chen laughed heartily and said, very good, the whole family needs to be neat and tidy. Sitting on the sofa, Su Mu kept sighing. On the one hand, the country of China in this world is indeed different from that on earth. On the other hand, I admire Xie Chen. He has a generous attitude, but in reality, his mind is very delicate and he can chat with others wherever he goes. Before long, Xie Chen closed the door and put 2 portions of bean curd jelly served with sauce, for deep-fried dough sticks and 1 portion of pickles on the tea table. As usual, the salty belongs to you and the sweet belongs to me. After finishing speaking, Xie Chen pulled his portion in front of him and took a sip of it. Su Mu stared at his share of bean curd jelly served with sauce for a while, then still looked up. Brother Chen, what is the company's arrangement for me? Your arrangement. Xia Chen took a bite of deep-fried dough sticks and said vaguely. The company means to arrange you to perform in the remaining 3 months. Su Mu. What? Acting. Shouldn't we go for a whole massage? Chen, you are familiar with my acting skills, and I haven't passed much acting exams. Xia Chen. Although you didn't pass the film exam, according to the rules, you can also be a supporting role in some kinds of online movies. P.S. Seeking collection and tickets, Mengxin needs the support of big shots. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Composer, Fool, for Collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Composer, Fool, for Collection. Indeed, according to regulations, online movies with an investment of less than 2 million yuan and online short dramas with an investment of less than 8 million yuan all belong to Category D scripts. Su Mu can participate in the performance, but cannot play the lead role. Xia Chen swallowed the deep-fried dough sticks in his mouth and said seriously. Moreover, because you are not good at acting, the company let you become a supporting role in online movies. Online movies themselves don't have high requirements for actors. Many roles are played by the same actors. On the contrary, it's a good gimmick for you, the former top stream, to be a supporting role. The movie is hot, and maybe it can also praise new people. After finishing speaking, Xia Chen looked at Su Mu and said, I said it truthfully enough. Even if Su Mu doesn't understand the entertainment industry anymore, he can still understand this. To put it simply, it means sacrificing his last bit of fame, which used to be at the top of the charts, just a bit of bad money. In a few words, Xia Chen had already dealt with a bowl of bean curd jelly served with sauce in front of him, and ate a deep-fried dough sticks and half a dish of pickles. He picked up a tissue and wiped his mouth, saying, Su Mu, I don't know what you think, and I don't know if you're willing or not. But these past 3 days, I have indeed fought with the company and don't want you to be this clown or embarrass yourself. But I just have so little say and can't influence the company's decisions. So. Talking nonsense is useless, it's already like this. After speaking, he took out a set of scripts and a book from his backpack and placed them on the table. This is the script and original work for the first play arranged by the company. You are playing the role of the second male lead, with a duration of about 10 minutes. This movie was originally almost finished, but the actor who originally played the second male lead went out for commercial performances and caused several thugs to break their legs in the bar, which could lead to legal action. Su Mu. Is there such a high risk of playing tricks in business performances on your end? So now the male lead role in this movie needs to be remade. The company's intention is to take advantage of your exam and fail again, which will increase the popularity, so shoot and broadcast quickly. After dinner later, why don't you take a look at the script? I have something else to do this morning, can I bring you into the group this afternoon? Su Mu glanced at the script. Screenplay name. Our Lost Youth, Pain, Love. He didn't speak, he really didn't know how to do this job himself. Guys really don't know how to act. Perhaps sensing Su Mu's silence, Xia Chen sighed and said, Su Mu, there's no way to go. We've had a bad time with variety shows, and there might be some trouble with commercial performances. Otherwise, I'll break your leg and become a singer. You can't sing all 5 notes, and besides, our company doesn't have any songs for you to sing. He stood up and said, guess what I'm going to do this morning? I heard that a composer is traveling in Chang'an these days, and I'm going to give gifts and beg for songs. The so-called incomplete 5 tones are generally divided into 2 types. One is poor voice, and the other is poor pitch accuracy. The first type is that unless encountering a particularly special song, one cannot become a singer. The second type, after long-term scientific training, can also change one's destiny against the heavens. Su Mu is the second type, but unfortunately he hasn't practiced his voice in the past few years at Tianqing. But Su Mu still caught the flashy points in Xie Chen's words just now. Song. Su Mu suddenly came to his senses. He still has a song in his hand. That's not right, Chen. I remember our company has a composition department and we have to find other people to ask for songs. Xie Chen's expression was taken aback and he said, as an entertainment company with only a few members in the composition department, what kind of composition department is that? Lower third rate. Su Mu looked surprised and said, I remember before I went to Tianqing, wasn't our company ranked higher than third rate? Why is it now ranked lower? Xie Chen remained silent, just staring straight at Su Mu. Su Mu felt uneasy when he looked at him and said, what are you looking at me for? Xie Chen took a deep breath and was once again impressed by his little brother's foolishness. After you became popular, the dozen or so large-scale film and television dramas you signed were all major shareholders of our company. Didn't they all go bankrupt later on? There are also penalty fees. And the variety shows you went to, the company also invested in them, didn't they all lose money? Su Mu was silenced by Xie Chen, not expecting to have such skills. Xie Chen was still muttering, I heard the boss is planning to run away. The new boss may be a woman, but that has nothing to do with us. Su Mu nodded and said, indeed. The new boss doesn't care who he loves. What he cares about now is another thing. Chen, do you think it's possible for me to become a composer? Su Mu asked tentatively. With this one sentence, Xie Chen was stunned. Xie Chen can also be considered a person who has seen the world, but he was still frightened by this sentence. How dare he? Big brother, you can't even pass the cultural class of the film exam. What are you doing to write songs for? Just because you have just finished reading and appreciating 30 poems. Is it a special version for teenagers? Su Mu, I know you've been under a lot of pressure lately, but... Xie Chen's mouth opened and closed, unsure of what to say. He was really not good at comforting people. Su Mu interrupted his silence and said, Chen, I know what you mean. Xie Chen sighed and patted Su Mu's shoulder, saying, Su Mu, think of something practical. I'm leaving. When Xie Chen walked to the door, he paused for 2 seconds before suddenly saying, if you're really unwilling and want to sing or become a composer, then you should go to the music website and take a good look. There are vocal training tutorials and many composers sharing their experiences. Xie Chen has no expectations for Su Mu wanting to be a Chu Ren. He said this entirely to salvage the blow he had just had on Su Mu. Let's go. After speaking, Xie Chen closed the door from outside. Inside the house. Su Mu's eyes suddenly lit up when he heard Xie Chen's words just now. Si Lu Wang. After Xie Chen's reminder, he remembered. 5 years ago, the Huagua Music Association was established, and the official website of musicians was also released. Si Lu Wang. It is said that the name comes from the ancient De Si Yu Fu. On the surface, Si Lu Wang is a social platform for music practitioners, just like a small Weibo account. But in reality, this website integrates functions such as music copyright registration, score plagiarism checking, and new work release. This world places great importance on copyright and has almost zero tolerance for plagiarism. So once the composer registers the copyright on the music website, they can confidently publish the score and lyrics on the website. Many agents and singers often squat on it. Study it. Su Mu flipped out his original computer and logged onto the music website. The page loading is complete, and the first pop-up window that appears on the computer is Welcome to Visit Sile Music Network. At the top of the web page is the logo image of SileNet. The picture is in the style of Chinese ink painting, with a bell in the center and a leisurely person sitting on the ground with their back against the bell. The person was holding a flute in his hand, with a graceful expression. Next to the picture is the slogan of this website. Enjoy the world. Su Mu's eyes lit up. Just this logo and page, Su Mu feels that SileNet gives people a confident and joyful temperament that disregards the lives of others. Can you be happy? Composers and lyricists in this world have high status and earn money. After clicking on the website, there are various subsections, beginner tutorials, music forums. Su Mu clicked into the forum section, which contains various posts. Quick shooter. I have written 3 more lyrics. Those who understand the Guzheng are advancing. Seeking a song. If I can't find the opening song director, I'll be beaten to death, said the crew of Lonely Man. Su Jinghuan said, is the author of the song Lotus on the new song chart still there? I am applying to compete with you. I have been in seclusion for 3 days and finally wrote a song, but when I checked for duplicates, I found out that it collided with your song Lotus. Therefore, it is reasonable for me to receive half of the reward on your new song chart. Wu Erlang, who fought against the tiger, said, I wrote a new song called Sister-in-Law. Does anyone want to sing it? Even inside, Su Mu found a post posted by Snatching this morning. Hey everyone, if you have a popular song suitable for young people, you must think of me. I have 3 or 4 new players waiting to be nurtured. The new players I have are all cheap and easy to use, and can withstand training. They are the best choice for big players to charge the charts and score points. Su Mu looked down all the way and found that there were all talented people inside, and they spoke well. The confidence and joy of the lyricists and composers on this website actually made Su Mu find that she likes the cultural atmosphere of this world a bit. Looking at it, Su Mu's heart became much more cheerful. Come on, I've got all my clothes on. Why don't we just do what we should do happily and work again? How can we be so depressed? Thinking this way, he turned his gaze to the script that Snatching had just put down. Meanwhile, the sound of the system suddenly rang out in Su Mu's mind. Ding! Novice Guide Task 2 has been released. Beginner Guide Task 2. Invite the host to participate in the filming of a film and television work and write feedback. This task is a long-term task, task reward. Random, what you gain on paper is shallow, but if you never know it, you need to put it into practice. Only by immersing yourself in practice can you truly accumulate experience and gain growth. However, this is not over yet. The system immediately released the 3rd task. Beginner Guide Task 3. Please ask the host to release their first song in life. Task Reward. Random, this time, facing the task of the system, Su Mu didn't roast again. Just the task of shooting the work, Su Mu put it aside for the time being and released the song. He was ready to start immediately. Since you want to open it up, don't hesitate. First, register an account on Sile Music Network to see if there are any suitable singers or production teams who need songs, and then submit them to others. Opening the Sile Music website again, Su Mu clicked on Register. Enter the ID number, and then turn on the camera for identification and verification. After the identity recognition is completed, a prompt appears on the page. Confirming the organization to which your copyright belongs. The so-called copyright ownership organization is actually that some composers have signed up to the company, so to a certain extent, they cannot handle their own copyright on their own. There is a saying on earth that the copyright of artists belongs to the company, but it is not absolute. Just like in the 0713 boy band back then, everyone else signed an artist contract, only Lu Hu, and also signed an additional lyrics and music copyright contract. So his songs don't belong to him. As for Su Mu, looking at the entire Qiming entertainment and even the entertainment industry, who doesn't know that Su Mu is illiterate? A fool would think he could write a work. So when the contract was signed back then, the company never mentioned this at all. Sure enough, a few minutes later, Si Lu Wang sent a prompt. After confirmation, your identity is a free copyright creator, and you have the right to freely handle the copyright of your own works. No individual or organization may infringe upon it, without any doubt. You have now registered as a member of Sile Music Network. Please enter your pen name or use your real name directly. Pen name. Sumu just saw the composers on this website, some using their real names, while others use pen names. He's not planning to use his real name anymore. As for pen name, Sumu pondered for a while and suddenly remembered a character from a popular online novel on Earth. Since everyone thinks I'm stupid and stupid, then I'm called Fools. Who's not a curly-haired baboon anymore. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Biographies of Characters, recommended for collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Biographies of Characters, recommended for collection. When Sumu thought of the name, Fool, he felt a little secretly happy, as if he had been contaminated by something. Fortunately, this pen name was not occupied, so Sumu completed the registration directly. After clicking Confirm, Sumu's account can be considered completely registered. Si Lu Wang also generated his creator ID 89757. After completing the registration, Sumu began to search for potential buyers in the forum who may need Acacia. Due to the relaxation of cultural and entertainment restrictions in China in recent years, a large number of films, variety shows, and other works in China have emerged, resulting in a considerable demand for songs. Collection of theme songs for the movie Rock and Roll Veterans. The promotional song for the documentary The River of Time has a negotiable price and is open to experienced creators. Urgent, Wang Wei is now soliciting advertising songs from all over the world. Sumu carefully flipped down and watched for 5 or 6 minutes without finding a suitable movie or scene for love. Finally, Sumu almost flipped the page of the song request to the end, and a post caught his attention. Jingzhou TV's, inquiring about the past, program team song collection post. Ask Gu. Sumu clicked in. Questioning the Past is a large-scale cultural and music program produced and launched by Jingzhou TV's comprehensive channel. It combines traditional poetry classics with modern pop through the form of combining poetry with songs. The format of the program is to introduce poetry by relevant experts, with the singer as the classic singer, and re-sing classic poetry or songs related to ancient poetry using popular song singing methods. This column is divided into lyrical poetry, pastoral poetry, frontier poetry, military poetry. Ci and Chu authors can create related songs based on the above types of poetry, and the song collection period is from April 1st to August 1st. Seeing the introduction of this program, Sumu became energized. This program is very similar to the Classic Ode on Earth, and Jingzhou TV is also a top-tier television station in this world. How could this post sink to the bottom of the forum? Sumu looked at the time on the computer and it showed that today is July 9th. This is clearly more than half a month away from the end of the solicitation. Why hasn't anyone discussed this post? Sumu carefully looked at the comments section below. A person named Yi Jiuyan posted the last comment half a month ago. I was rejected for the 4th time, and I gave up on this column. The name of Yi Jiuyan also bears the label, Gold Medal Composer. There are hundreds of replies under Yi Jiuyan's comments. Isn't it true that 4th Master has been rejected? Is this column group demanding so much? Alright, everyone can leave now. Why do everyone call Yi Jiuyan 4th Master? 4th Master, don't you even know? 4th Master once occupied the top 10 of the new song chart with 4 songs, and since then, he has become famous in one battle. Even 4th Master gave up, I won't try anymore. In fact, the cost-effectiveness of this program is not high. The majority of viewers are middle-aged and elderly, and posting songs on this program is not conducive to breaking the charts. Sumu understood a general idea after reading it. The main reason why this post was heavy was that the program team's requirements were too difficult. But this program seems to be the most compatible with Acacia. That's it. Sumu exported the score and song files of Acacia from the system, and then uploaded them to the music website. Afterwards, follow the Chinese prompts for operation. Song plagiarism check and copyright registration. After completing everything, Sumu directly clicked on Submit to this program group. Submission section. Lyric poetry. Dear creator, your song, Acacia, has been submitted for submission. We will inform you of any further progress as soon as possible. Looking at the prompt on the computer interface, Sumu breathed a sigh of relief. The next step is to wait for news. After standing up and moving around for a while, Sumu drank a glass of water and sat back on the sofa. Picked up the script called Our Lost Youth. Since we have decided to live here, well, we should do whatever we want. You can't sit in front of the computer every day waiting for news from the program team of Wanggu. Sumu opened the script, and the first page was the character directory. Female 1, Lin Xiao. Male 1, Jianghuai. Second male, Lu Heng. It seems that this Lu Heng is the character he wants to play. Sumu carefully looked down and said, Lu Heng, with a handsome and stuttering appearance, and childhood sweetheart with Lin Xiao, has always been regarded by Lin Xiao as his younger brother. He has proposed to Lin Xiao multiple times, but later voluntarily withdrew and wished Lin Xiao and Jianghuai the best. Sumu looked carefully and said, stuttering. He quickly sent a message to Xie Chen, Chen, am I stuttering? Half a minute later, Xie Chen's message came back. Aren't you very happy? Your stuttering lines are not good, aren't you? This is just right. Sumu. Forget it, read a book. Sumu rarely read these romance novels in his past life, and this script is quite novel to him. Slowly, Sumu looked inside. Actually, this story is very simple. The female protagonist is lively, free and lazy, with average academic performance. During the middle school entrance examination, she performed exceptionally well and was admitted to a key high school. The male lead is not good at words, handsome and aloof, but his academic performance is very good. The two people who were originally unrelated became desk mates, and in the end, they experienced various things and quietly developed feelings. Unfortunately, after the college entrance examination, the proud male lead failed, and coupled with family upheavals, in order not to burden the female lead, he disappeared for 10 years. The role that Sumu is going to play has very few early scenes, but in fact, she is just a small follower next to the female lead. His role is mainly in the later part. During the 10 years since the disappearance of the male lead, Lu Heng, played by Sumu, has been by Lin Zhao's side and has proposed multiple times. The book reads. When Lu Heng proposed for the first time, Lin Xiao thought he was joking. She looked at the man in a suit and leather shoes in front of her. He was already a senior executive of a company, but Lin Xiao still remembered his stuttering appearance when he was a child, so she couldn't help but feel a bit handsome. Also, the book says that when Lu Heng grows up, his stuttering becomes better, and he only stutters when facing Lin Xiao. The final ending of this book is that Lu Heng met the male lead who had disappeared for 10 years at a job fair and told the female lead the news. Sumu didn't understand the second male student's approach, but was greatly shocked. Perhaps romance dramas are like this. It took Sumu over 3 hours to finish reading the original work in script. This time, the system did not provide any additional rewards, only gave Sumu 3 skill points. After casually taking a bite of food, Sumu leaned over to the table again. He began to search for fragments of information about the second son in the book. A person's behavioral habits are difficult to change. In his past life, when Sumu was writing a paper, he often sat at a computer desk for 4 or 5 hours, and could search through dozens of literature for the source of a sentence. He is somewhat eccentric. Since you have decided to do something, try your best to do it well. At this point, he is also doing the same for this script. Sumu found a notebook and extracted all the information about Lu Heng from this book. Unfortunately, the original author did not give Lu Heng too much writing in the early stages of this book, such as why he stuttered and why he improved later on. Stuttering. Su Mu instinctively logged onto CNKI and began searching using stuttering. This is a habit he developed when writing papers. Quickly, Su Mu searched for 2 articles, one titled Psychological Investigation and Analysis of Stuttering Patients and the other titled Family-Centered Stuttering Psychotherapy Strategies. When stutterers first experience stuttering, they do not mind, are not nervous, and do not have psychological pressure. However, due to the frequent ridicule, setbacks, and awkwardness caused by stuttering, these experiences bring psychological pressure to stutterers. When parents treat their children stuttering in a more acceptable way, it can have a significant positive guidance on their children's psychology. So logically speaking, my character may not have a natural stuttering. It's just that I had some symptoms when I was young and later was ridiculed, which is why my condition became severe. The reason why I like Lin Xiao is because she protected me when I was young. Moreover, my family atmosphere is probably not very good, so it makes me more dependent on her. Su Mu kept copying and trying to analyze using his own research logic. Until his phone rang. It's already 1:30 p.m. now. Hello. Due to the long silence, Su Mu's voice was a bit hoarse. Su Mu, why is your voice so hoarse while taking a nap? Let's go downstairs and I'll take you to the crew. The car is waiting downstairs. The phone was from Xie Chen. Okay. After hanging up the phone, Su Mu looked at the pile of things she had written on the table. It's all related to the character of Lu Heng. From character development, to family situations, and then to changes in emotional journey. Unfortunately, there are still a few and a half left to be written. Forget it, let's go first. Su Mu stuffed the unfinished pieces of paper into his pocket. What he didn't know was that he had almost completed a character biography by accident. P.S. I won't stick to the references. This chapter may have some ink stains, but in fact, I want to write about how a non-professional celebrity with a spirit of research would treat the profession of an actor. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Strange Director and Actress, thanks to Mao'er's Alliance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Strange Director and Actress, thanks to Mao'er's Alliance leader. Below the Qiming artist apartment, a van was parked with 2 good-looking boys in their 20s, in addition to the driver. These 2 boys are new artists under Xie Chen. One is Lin Zhaoqi, the other is Geng Chenhui, who plays a small supporting role in Our Lost Youth. Lin Zhaoqi's future development direction is as a singer, and acting is just to cultivate his sense of camera. Outside the car, Xie Chen was carrying a bag and smoking, waiting for Su Mu. Agree in advance, I know that people in the circle may look down on Su Mu to some extent, but others can do it, but you two can't. Su Mu is the first artist I brought. You have to call him elder brother when you meet him. I don't know how others are like, but this is the rule under my hand. Don't be so famous as his mother. Instead, you learn a lot of words and expressions when you fall down. Xie Chen smoked and said to the 2 people in the car. I know Brother Chen, the 2 boys in the car said in unison. Got it, still sitting inside. Xie Chen's voice suddenly rose up. Oh. Lin Zhaoqi and Geng Chenhui hurriedly got off the car. Not long after, Su Mu, wearing a mask, appeared from the entrance of the apartment. My name is Brother Mu. Xie Chen called out to the 2 male artists behind him. Brother Mu. Lin Zhaoqi looked a bit silly and shouted with a strong sense of humor. Geng Chenhui was a bit casual. Su Mu was startled by the sudden battle and politely replied, hello. Xie Chen stamped out his cigarette butt, pinched it in his hand, and then greeted Su Mu, saying, get on the car first, introduce yourself to the car. On the van, the air conditioning blows a cool breeze, making the person feel very comfortable. Su Mu and Xie Chen sat in the middle row, while Lin Zhaoqi and Geng Chenhui sat in the last row. Just now, Xia Chen had already introduced two people to Su Mu. At this time, he was explaining the next thing to Su Mu. I am very familiar with the directors, they are very nice, don't feel pressured. Have you read the script? In the last row of the car, Lin Zhaoqi and Geng Chenhui carefully looked at Su Mu, their eyes full of curiosity. This is the person who hasn't passed the film exam 8 times. Geng Chenhui picked up his phone and sent a message to Lin Zhaoqi, how could a person be so stupid? Chen is still so kind to him. The two didn't want Su Mu and Xia Chen in front to hear any sound. Lin Zhaoqi saw the information on his phone and silently waved his hand. Then he pressed his finger onto Geng Chenhui's phone and withdrew the message for him. Geng Chenhui hooked his mouth and let out an imperceptible cut. Egg, who in the circle doesn't laugh at him? He typed a line on his phone. Lin Zhaoqi smiled and made no further movements. Half an hour later, the van arrived at a high school in the southern suburbs of Chang'an City. It's summer vacation now, and there's no one in the school, so the production team rented an area to film. Moreover, group performances are particularly easy to solve, and students love to participate in such activities. At 80 a day, with just one meal, the students were full of enthusiasm. The van parked in front of a warehouse next to the playground, and the production team temporarily transformed the warehouse into a meeting room, rest area, and makeup area. At this moment, there were about 10 group performers wearing school uniforms squatting in front of the warehouse to eat. A man in his 30s, with a square face, fair skin, wearing a sun hat, and artistic long hair, was discussing something with a few people at the warehouse entrance. The one with long hair is director Hu Yueping, Xia Chen introduced to Su Mu before the car stopped. After the car stopped, Xia Chen instructed, I'll see the director later, be more polite and thoughtful. Then he got off the car first. Hu Dao, hi, I have brought you people, hi. Xia Chen's face was full of smiles, showing a flattering smile. With this sound, people in front of the warehouse looked over one after another. Ouch! Director Hu Yueping was taken aback for a moment, then his face was covered in a smile. Manager Xie. As they spoke, they welcomed each other and tightly held their 4 hands together. Su Mu followed closely behind Xia Chen, took off his mask, and politely called out, hello director. Hu Yueping looked up and down at Su Mu imperceptibly, and then his face was instantly filled with a smile. He is indeed a talented person, exceptionally handsome. Su Mu was taken aback, the play was not right. According to the writing style in the novel, shouldn't the director come up and mock me? Saying that you're such a garbage actor coming to my crew is an insult to me and so on. But Hu Yueping did not. But the other people in front of the warehouse became quiet at the moment Su Mu took off his mask. They looked at Su Mu like animals one by one, and then started. Is this Su Mu? He looks really handsome. Handsome, exchange it for intelligence. Who made him not study? Beside the van, Xia Chen whispered to Hu Yueping, Director Hu, Su Mu is asking you for help from behind. I'm causing trouble for you. If there's anything he did wrong, you can just scold him. Hu Yu shook his head flat like a tambourine and said, harmony makes money, everyone makes money with harmony. This Su Mu can't stand watching from the side anymore. Is this director too gentle? Director Hu, his acting skills are not good, we need you to train him more, Xia Chen continued. Hu Yueping's eyes widened and he pretended to be angry, what's the point? His acting skills are not good, and I am also an inexperienced director. It's only when everyone's level is about the same that we get together. Let's not dislike anyone. Let's have a happy time filming. Su Mu. What? What he said makes sense. Let's go inside. Speaking, Hu Yueping led Su Mu and Xia Chen to a separated room in the warehouse. This is our lounge, you can rest here when you're tired in the future, Hu Yueping said to Su Mu with a smile. Pushing open the door, a cold breath rushed out of the room. The room is not small, covering an area of 20.30 square meters, with over a dozen chairs and a few scattered tables. At this moment, there were 4 women and 2 men in the room, and 6 people in their 30s were chatting with instant coffee. In the corner, a girl was sitting at the table, seriously dealing with a chicken cutlet rice in front of her. The girl was wearing a white shirt on her upper body, a checkered short skirt on her lower body, and a pair of canvas shoes on her feet. Her slender and fair calves were particularly eye-catching. Slightly curled hair, with big eyes and small mouth. The girl's face was slightly round, as if she still had some baby fat, and her mouth was bulging at this moment. This face is very pure. Seeing Sumu and others enter, the room immediately quiets down. The girl raised her head and stared seriously at Sumu with big eyes. Come on, let me introduce to you. This is our new actor, Sumu, from Luheng. You should all know him, right? Then Hu Yueping pointed to the 6 people in their 30s in the room and introduced them. These are the makeup artists in our group. Some of them are also playing small roles in the play. Sumu greeted everyone. Then Hu Yueping pointed to the girl in the corner and said, "This is the actress of our female lead Lin Xiao, Ning Wei." The girl named Ning Wei quickly stood up, not forgetting to press down on her checkered short skirt with both hands. Sumu saw her work hard to swallow the food in her mouth and then say, "Hello, my name is Ning Wei." "Hello, my name is Sumu." Hiccup, just then, the girl named Ning Wei suddenly hiccuped. In this brief and peaceful room, the hiccup was very noticeable. Then Sumu watched as Ning Wei's face and ears quickly covered in a layer of red. "Give her a glass of water quickly." Hu Yueping remained gentle, without a hint of anger. The 6 people holding coffee cups in the corner all silently looked at Sumu, while making eye contact. Someone even skillfully gestured 2 and 8 behind their backs. The meaning is, 8 times every 2 years. Suddenly, someone couldn't help but want to laugh, quickly took a sip of coffee, and then made a choking sound. On Sumu's side, Xie Chen was still politely saying to Hu Yueping, "Director Hu, give him some guidance. Just give him any guidance you want, it will be enough for him to benefit." "I can't do it, I'm just a little director," Hu Yueping kept evading. "Then tell him about the rules of the crew." Hu Yueping's eyes flickered and he looked at Sumu at the same time. "Why don't we have a chat?" Sumu nodded and said, "You said." The 6 people in the corner are staring right there. Ning Wei, on the other hand, with an expression of wanting to dive underground, found a corner to gulp down and drink water. After 2 seconds, she looked around and saw no one looking at her. She quietly brought the chicken cutlet rice back to herself. On Sumu's side, Hu Yueping smiled and asked him to sit down, while he leaned against a table and stood in front of Sumu, saying, "Our production team doesn't have any rules. In fact, everyone is happy to film, go to work on time, and leave work on time. Why don't I ask something else?" Xie Chen nodded and said, "Yes, teach him." Hu Yueping thought for a moment and said, "Sumu, have you read the script?" "I have seen it." "What is your opinion on the role you are playing?" Sumu's expression was taken aback. How do I feel like I've seen this section somewhere before? It seems that someone was interviewed on Bilibili in their past life, but Sumu didn't look carefully at it at that time. "Forget it, I'll ask you an answer." Sumu paused in amazement, and Hu Yueping took over the conversation. His expression was very relaxed, as if he was doing a routine job. "Answer the director's question well," Xie Chen poked Sumu on the back. "What is your name in the play?" Sumu thought for a moment and said, "Lu Heng." Hu Yueping still smiled and said, "What are your characteristics?" Without hesitation, Sumu said, "Stuttering." "What else?" "Inferiority complex." "Why feel inferior?" "Because I stuttered." Some of the 6 people in the corner couldn't help but laugh. Ning Wei nodded and said, "Reasonable. P.S. Let's discuss, why not concentrate the update time on 8:10 p.m.? Or a chapter at noon and a chapter at night. Special thanks to everyone. I didn't expect to have so many people supporting me after opening the book a year later. Thank you for the leader's reward from ye Mao'er. Wishing you all the best in your dreams and blessings. Thank you for your excellent song. This is our operations officer who has been supporting us until now. Thank you for the 10,000 rewards of the legendary high-level tentacle shrimp, the 5,300 rewards of the Nian Hua Guan Shui, the 5,200 rewards of the Carry Band Song, the 5,100 rewards of the Wei Xia Guazi, the 4,000 rewards of the Cold Wind Feather, the 2,000 rewards of the Moving Era, the 1,600 rewards of the Bada Bird, the 1,500 rewards of the Unsheep, the 1,500 rewards of the Wishing to Chase the Lord with Flowing Flowers, the 1,000 rewards of the Mu Shi Chin, the 999 rewards of the Late Moon, the 888 rewards of the Timid and Rebellious Monarch Snake, the 800 rewards of the Greedy Bookworm, 88, 88, 88, 88, 88, 88, 88, 88, 88, 100, 100, 100, 100, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 300, 300, 300, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, and 200, 200, if there is any, 200, 200. 200 rewards for the shade of willow trees. Ah, the word count is not allowed. Thank you again next time. There are many old friends inside, as well as the leader of the previous book. Thank you all for your support. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Is not good, it's burning up, for collection and follow. Up reading. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 6 is not good, it's burning up, for collection and follow. Up reading. Xia Chen poked Su Mu's back again, gesturing for him to answer well. Hu Yueping curled his lips and said to himself, where are you putting this doll? Why are you stuttering? He blurted out the question. In fact, there was no answer given to this question in the book, and Hu Yueping didn't want to ask either. Isn't that just a hasty remark? He naturally didn't expect Su Mu to have an answer. But Su Mu raised his head. These questions are all mentioned in his character biography. Because when I was young, I only had a slight stuttering problem, but everyone laughed at me, so this disease became more and more serious. Hu Yueping. It's not written in this book. Did the famous illiterate in this circle actually do their homework? He gradually straightened up and said, so why did his stuttering improve later on? Su Mu squinted her eyes and began to recall what she had written today. Because I later left my hometown and went to a university in another city, the people around me didn't know that I had a stutter when I was young, so I slowly relaxed and gradually recovered. Su Mu was recalling what he had written, but to Hu Yueping, this expression seemed to be reminiscent. He was surprised to find out that this kid had actually entered the play. People around looked at Su Mu one after another. There was a hint of surprise in the expression, but not much. Why do you like Lin Xiao? Don't tell me there's no reason to like someone. Hu Yueping's expression became serious. Su Mu recalled, because when I was young, my family was not harmonious, which was also the main reason for my severe stuttering. At that time, only Lin Xiao didn't dislike me, she treated me like a younger brother. Ning Wei in the corner fell into contemplation and said, the script didn't mention that his family was not harmonious, did it? Hu Yueping's body began to lean forward, and this kid even fabricated the disharmony in Lu Heng's family atmosphere. This is really homework done. So you like Lin Xiao because Lin Xiao means not to be disliked for you? No. Su Mu said loudly. Then he said seriously, because she was a beam of light from my gray childhood. No, she was a beam of light from my entire life. Ning Wei in the corner squinted her eyes and said, it's too much. Hu Yueping's pace began to increase. Since Lin Xiao is a beam of light in your life, why do you still stutter when facing her? She has never disliked you, has she? Without hesitation, Su Mu said, because I love her. People are always insecure in front of their loved ones. After pausing for half a second, Su Mu continued, and she knows about my childhood. Hiccup. Ning Wei was so engrossed that she forgot to drink water and let out another hiccup. She didn't expect Su Mu to think about the problem so carefully. The male actor who played Lu Heng before had no understanding of the role. The other 6 staff members also quieted down. They have read this script over and over again 800 times. What Su Mu said was not mentioned in the script. And Su Mu, the legendary illiterate, surprisingly did his homework so meticulously. Shut up. Hu Yueping turned his head and glared at Ning Wei. Then he turned around and continued to ask Su Mu, since you love her, why do you still want to let her out because of your inferiority complex? He asked in the book that 10 years later, the female protagonist Lin Xiao had never found the male protagonist Jiang Huai. Instead, it was the male lead Lu Heng who met Jiang Huai. Later, he told Lin Xiao about this. This is like letting the female lead out. Su Mu paused. This is the paragraph he didn't finish this morning, and he hasn't figured it out yet. But at this moment, under the pressure of the director, he seemed to have returned to his postgraduate studies, where his mentor and he were discussing issues. So my mind began to become increasingly clear, and many things that I hadn't figured out in the morning began to gradually clear up. Actually, if it were me, Su Mu said slowly, I won't let her out. At least I won't take the initiative to tell Lin Xiao about the Jianghuai River. This. 6 people in the corner were confused. That's not what's written in the script. No, this is not right. The script clearly says let's not talk nonsense, Su Mu. Director, don't be angry. Xie Chen suddenly stood between the two. He watched as Hu Yueping's face began to turn red. Hu Yueping is a well-known kind-hearted person, and Su Mu can actually make him angry, which is also top-notch. What are you blindly analyzing there? The people around also became nervous. Sure enough, Hu Yueping's breathing began to quicken. He took a step sideways, bypassed Xie Chen, and continued to stare at Su Mu, asking, is this your viewpoint, or is it Lu Heng's viewpoint? Without hesitation, Su Mu said, this is the perspective of someone who loves Lin Xiao. I cannot be with her because I love her. She may not necessarily love me, but she should not be with cowards like Jiang Huai. A person who disappeared for 10 years due to a failure in the college entrance examination, who knows if he will give up on Lin Xiao again due to some setbacks. For someone who loves Lin Xiao, it's illogical to take the initiative to let her come into contact with an irresponsible man. The room has become quiet. Xie Chen didn't listen to Su Mu at all, but he heard the word logic. Su Mugong just said logic. For him, this must be a high-level vocabulary. The 6 people in the corner were also confused. I feel like what he said makes a lot of sense, but it always feels strange when he says it in Su Mu's illiterate mouth. Is this the legendary illiterate? They were crazily puzzled in their hearts. Hu Yueping stared at Su Mu for 2 seconds, then stood up straight and asked in a low voice, where did you get the answers to these questions? Su Mu looked up and said, because of me, did you read a book? Do you really like this script? Pursued Hu Yueping. Su Mu shook his head and said, I just want to understand these details inside. These few words are more explosive than all the words Su Mu said before. No one expected that this illiterate Su Mu would have such a spirit of research. Okay, I understand. Hu Yueping nodded and returned to his previous smiling expression. You guys talk for a while, after all, we'll be filming together in the future. I'll go see if anyone else is in place. He smiled and said to Su Mu and Ning Wei, then greeted Xie Chen and left the room. After leaving the door, the smile on Hu Yueping's face disappeared. Turning to seriousness, he found a corner himself and lit a cigarette. In fact, Hu Yueping is not a smiling tiger, nor is he a kind-hearted person. He just put on a show. He used to work well as an assistant director for others, and was also highly expected back then. Later, he came out to work alone, and as a result, he made several bad movies in a row. So now the company has arranged a bunch of D-type scripts for him. So he doesn't dislike Su Mu. If he were a really awesome director, could he be reduced to Su Mu acting for him? So even if the company gave him Su Mu, a garbage actor, he remained happy all along. For a person who puts on a bad show, this is not a problem. But after asking Su Mu those questions just now, Hu Yueping felt a slight ripple in his calm heart. Who is Su Mu? The famous joy in the circle. An illiterate person. But he actually read a script of type D so thoroughly and logically. Am I Hu Yueping even dumber than Su Mu? Absolutely impossible. Can I be hit harder than Su Mu? At least I haven't been laughed at by people all over the internet. But look, Su Mu didn't even mess up. With his intelligence, how much effort does it take to understand these issues? What kind of setback do I suffer compared to him? After a moment, Hu Yueping finished smoking a cigarette and his eyes gradually became firm. He began to savor Su Mu's words, thinking more and more logically, and unconsciously said, so it's like this. Would it be better for him to have a slightly increased role? It's broken, the flame of struggle in Hu Yueping's heart is about to ignite. In the room, after Hu Yueping left, there was a deathly silence. Let's go out and take a look. The 6 coffee drinkers quietly left. They never saw anyone who could make the director so angry. I'll go talk to Director Hu for a few words, and you two can talk. Xie Chen gave Su Mu a glance and also slipped away. After Xie Chen left, he searched for a while before finding Hu Yueping smoking in the corner. Director Hu, don't be angry. Su Mu is talking nonsense. He doesn't understand the script very well. The second male lead must take the initiative to let go in the end. Xie Chen smiled and handed over a cigarette. Hu Yueping nodded and took a sip. He's not talking nonsense, he's clearly prepared to come. Xie Chen accompanied him with a smile and said, he is indeed prepared. You don't have to be angry, but Su Mu's acting skills are average, and he still needs to be nurtured by Hu Dao. Hu Yueping took a hard puff on his cigarette and said, don't worry, I will definitely train him. In the room, Su Mu and Ning Wei sat face to face, 2 or 3 meters apart, unsure of what to say. Have you eaten yet? Ning Wei was the first to break the silence. Su Mu nodded and said, I have eaten it. He was still reminiscing about Hu Yueping's question just now, and he felt that his answer was very logical. Oh, don't get tangled up. Actually, every actor comes in and the director asks these questions. It's just a routine, he forgets after asking. Su Mu. Ha. Ning Wei clenched his fist and said, I think you spoke very well and logically. So he was so emotional just now. Ning Wei pursed his lips and said, who knows, I feel like he's a bit crazy today. I was also startled earlier. Su Mu nodded subconsciously and said, it's really strange. At this moment, Hu Yueping suddenly pushed open the door and said, get ready, let's start working. Ning Wei was startled by Hu Yueping's sudden entrance, and then she looked at her watch and said, it's only 2 o'clock, isn't it 3 o'clock when I start working? The crew has always been like this. Hu Yueping glared and said, starting from today, it's changed. Su Mu suddenly felt that Ning Wei was really right. How could this guy keep going one after another? He had no idea that he had ignited a fire in Director Hu's heart. Why did it suddenly change? I haven't finished my meal yet. Ning Wei didn't feel guilty and went straight up to A. Su Muxin said that this female lead is quite impressive and dares to argue with the director. As a result, the next second, Ning Wei added 2 words. Third uncle. Su Mu. What? Third uncle. Who is her third uncle? There's nobody else in this room either. Director. Is this director the third uncle of the female lead? He stared fixedly at Ning Wei. Your third uncle is a director, don't you say? Su Mu is numb. No wonder Ning Wei scolded Hu Yueping for being crazy when he came up. I also followed suit. I'm so stupid, really. At the door, Hu Yueping remained unmoved and instead stared at Ning Wei with a serious expression. Starting from today, I will set a rule for you. Call your position while working. Director Hu, it's ignited. In Su Mu's mind, the system suddenly made a ding sound. This sound is louder than ever, longer than ever. Detected that the host has independently and consciously completed the character's biography of the role played. This is a big step for the host. Reward distribution in progress. P.S. According to everyone's feedback, in the future, we will focus on sending updates in the evening and keep them up after 8 o'clock, which will be more enjoyable to watch continuously. I dare not make too many changes during the new book period, but it is definitely not exciting. Try to write some new gameplay as much as possible. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Electric Eyes, right. Snatching, right. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Electric Eyes, right. Snatching, right. The voice constantly appears in the mind. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the D.level attribute. Belief, growth capable. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the D.level special skill. I skill. Youth's deep gaze, can grow. The system actually gave 2 rewards at once, indicating that active learning still yields great rewards. Hu Yueping was still shouting, everyone, get moving and start filming in half an hour. Where's the male lead? Let him come quickly. Ning Wei, please don't eat. Makeup artist, go put on Su Mu's makeup, darken her skin a bit, and then choose a hood with a pot cover. The second son cannot be too handsome, go find a suitable school uniform for him. Soon, a female makeup artist appeared and pulled Su Mu to the next dressing room. The dressing room is independent and has a small area of only 6 or 7 square meters. The makeup artist is in his 30s. He has long wavy hair, a flirtatious look between his eyes and eyebrows, and perfume mixed with milk fragrance, which makes Su Mu a little dizzy. My name is Zhou Wan, just call me Sister Wan. As she spoke, she leaned down to carefully measure Su Mu's face and said, this ratio is really good. You can use it for modeling, but unfortunately, in order to accommodate the male lead, you have to draw an ugly picture. Makeup artists don't care about your big or small acting skills, they mainly focus on your face. Su Mu felt that Zhou Wan's breath was about to spray onto his face, and quickly shouted, Sister Wan, the director is still in a hurry. Don't worry, Sister is very skilled and will finish the task soon. Zhou Wan gestured Su Mu's forehead again and began to operate. Sitting on the chair, Su Mu quietly opened the system. In his property panel, 2 new things appear. Belief. The actor believes in the power of the character's existence. I am anyone and everyone, I am everything, I am the universe. Stanislavski once said, believing in the authenticity of character emotions and actions is an inner belief that an actor must possess, a belief in the purity of this reality. Su Mu understood and felt that this skill was similar to hypnosis, making herself believe that she was the character in the play. But this skill only helps actors get into the play and cannot significantly improve their acting skills. Because in addition to being in the play, actors also need to understand the characteristics of their characters. For example, if a person plays the role of an emperor, even if he is hypnotized, he will feel like the emperor from the bottom of his heart, but he does not know what the emperor looks like and still cannot perform. Otherwise, there is no need for actors in the crew, just hire a hypnotist. Sumu guessed that this skill should have been brought about by actively building the character of Lu Heng. Continue to look at the next skill. Special skill. Young people's deep gazing. Using micro-expressions and eye muscle changes, simulate the pure and clear deep affection of young people. According to Albert, a renowned psychologist on Earth, when expressing emotions, the use of words accounts for only 7%, while tone accounts for 38%, and the remaining 55% is entirely accomplished by body language. The eyes are the window to the soul, and expressing emotions with eyes is the best performance. Looking at the explanation provided by the system, Sumu felt very happy in his heart. As a paper dog, he likes conclusions with sources. As he saw these two skills, Sumu also seemed to have a switch in his mind. He looked at himself in the mirror and decided to give it a try. Belief activated, character Lu Heng. In an instant, Sumu's shoulders collapsed imperceptibly, her upper eyelids also lowered slightly, her facial muscles gradually tightened, and her lips pursed into a line. At this moment, Sumu felt like the insecure and always nervous Lu Heng. Especially when there is a big sister around me who is manipulating me. Stare open. Sumu saw himself in the mirror, his facial muscles began to relax, his eyes gradually focused, and even his eyes became slightly brighter imperceptibly. Psychologically speaking, when a person encounters someone they like, no matter how much they suppress it, their heart is also excited and excited. In this situation, the pupils of a person will expand to a certain extent, causing their eyes to appear brighter. The same principle applies to what people often say is a bright moment in front of their eyes. The corners of his mouth are delicately curved, the muscles at the upper corners of his eyes bend downwards, and his eyebrows bend slightly downwards. In the mirror, Sumu's face seemed to be filled with a faint sense of happiness, as if he had seen a girl he had liked for a long time. There was not much possession in this gaze, more satisfaction, as if just looking at her made me very happy. Zhou Wan, who was applying makeup to Sumu, inexplicably felt Sumu's body relax a moment ago. She instinctively lifted her head and glanced at the mirror. Hiss, Zhou Wan's body trembled for a moment. What is Sumu's gaze in the mirror? He seems very intoxicated. My makeup skills are so good. Not right. Zhou Wan had seen this kind of look before, which was the look from her ex-boyfriend when he confessed to her in college. In that gaze, she felt like a treasure. But who is Sumu looking at now? Zhou Wan glanced around and there was no one else in the room. Then her ears turned red. Lift your head and take another look in the mirror. Sumu's handsome face and affectionate gaze, bad embryo. Zhou Wan quietly twisted Sumu's shoulder, and her whole body immediately became charming. Sister Wan has been in the entertainment industry for so many years, and she is used to the sentimentality of certain celebrities. She just didn't expect Sumu, who has thick eyebrows and big eyes, to do the same. But at the same time, she was also quite proud in her heart, thinking that she still had some pretty looks. What stung me? There are insects in Sister Wan's room. Sumu was originally immersed in the character, but a sudden pain on his shoulder made him walk out of the character. What's on my mind if I don't think about acting well? Zhou Wan was still immersed in Su Mugang's gaze, her voice a bit sticky. Sumu was confused. I was just thinking about how to act. Zhou Wan. What? Acting. Was that look in your eyes just now acting? Zhou Wan quickly lifted her head and found that Su Mugang's affectionate gaze in the mirror had disappeared, replaced by a face full of doubt. Hi, I thought you had some discomfort in your eyes just now. At this moment, Zhou Wan's awkward toes were almost puncturing her leather shoes. That's not right. Isn't Sumu notorious for his poor acting skills? A person who hasn't even passed the film exam, could just one glance show such deep affection. Sister Wan is at a loss in her heart. Fortunately, at this moment, Hu Yueping suddenly pushed the door open and walked in. "Are you okay?" Zhou Wan trembled and dispelled all the wild thoughts in her mind, saying, "It will be ready soon." Hu Yueping leaned against the door frame and said, "Hurry up and I'll just give him a lecture on the play." "Director, please tell me." Although Su Mu said so, he felt that the crew was strange in his heart. The director is unpredictable, and the female protagonist is a connected person, even the makeup artist can't keep up with the rest of the story. Undoubtedly, it is a crew of Type D scripts. Hu Yueping said to himself, "You just joined the group, and there won't be any major scenes scheduled today. Your scenes are mainly two without any dialogue." The first scene was a school party, where Lin Xiao performed with the male lead on stage. After stepping down, you handed a bottle of water. The second scene is in class, where Lin Xiao answers a question and embarrasses. Everyone laughs but neither you nor the male lead laughs. You try to comfort her, but the male lead takes the lead. In both of these scenes, you will have close-up shots. At other times, just follow behind Lin Xiao. If you can finish filming these two scenes today, it's considered a complete achievement. Good director. Su Mu remembers both of these scenes. You can't relax without lines, pay attention to your facial expressions. Hu Yueping thought for a moment and said, "Just don't be too dramatic, don't lose face." He knows Su Mu's brilliant achievements, and he just hopes that Su Mu doesn't perform too poorly, so that he can slowly train. While chatting, a nanny car slowly drove in at the school gate. There are two people sitting in the car. One of the young people in his 20s has a well-proportioned appearance. Wearing a school uniform, but with a restless face that completely doesn't match the uniform. At this time, he was listening to the song with headphones, his eyebrows wrinkled like fried dough twists. Didn't it usually start at 3 o'clock before? What kind of inspiration does the director have today? He is Dong Fei, the actor who plays the male lead in this drama. He passed the film exam 2 months ago, but unfortunately, Qiming Entertainment no longer has any major film and television productions at this time. So we can only let him play the lead role in the D.type script and hone it. Just a few words less. Sitting in front of him was a woman. The woman looks 27 or 8 years old, with her hair coiled behind her head, slender phoenix eyes curled up inside and out, willow leaves curved eyebrows, delicate nose bridges, carrot-colored red lips. She is about 170 meters tall, wearing a white shirt on her upper body, slender waist, round and full chest, a black straight skirt on her lower body, flesh-colored stockings, and black high heels on her feet. This woman is filled with the intelligence and competence of a workplace woman, as well as a hint of coldness and sexiness. Her name is Zhang Yu and she is Dong Fei's agent. At this moment, she was using a tablet to look at Su Mu's materials. Let me make it clear to you, now the male lead has been changed to Su Mu. Please behave well and don't let anyone snatch the show. Dong Fei snorted twice and said, "What's the use of a man's face alone? He hasn't even passed the film exam." Zhang Yu smiled and said, "You entered the circle late." I don't know how Su Mu's face was so promiscuous in the modeling industry back then. Dong Fei took off his earphones and said, "But he doesn't have any words, sister. What's the point of grabbing without words?" As he spoke, he glanced at Zhang Yu's beautiful legs and smiled, "If he steals the show today, I'll lick your feet." "Don't think about good things," Zhang Yu snorted coldly. Dong Fei frowned and said, "Then I'll eat your high heels." P.S. Reference materials for this chapter. The importance of realism and belief in actors creating characters, micro-expression psychology. The second chapter will come later. End of this chapter. Chapter 8 Male Lead. Don't be too outrageous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Male Lead. Don't be too outrageous. Outside the dressing room, Su Mu has already put on her school uniform. Although he is already 23 years old, wearing a school uniform and facing a flowing sea that completely covers his forehead, although he cannot be said to be a high school student, it is not considered a conflict. The makeup artist darkened his face to conceal some of his handsomeness. Xie Chen waited outside all the time and breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Su Mu's appearance. Lin Zhaoqi and Geng Chenhui also put on their school uniforms and stood next to Su Mu. The deputy director has already gone to the auditorium next to the playground in advance to set up the scene. Ning Wei is still wearing the clothes she wore at noon, playing with the guitar in her hand. She will need it later. Hu Yueping lit a cigarette and kept glancing at the warehouse entrance. Everyone is waiting for the actor of the male lead, Dong Fei. Not long after, the sound of clattering came from the entrance of the warehouse. Xie Chen's expression shook and he said, "We're here." He is an old rival to Zhang Yu. According to him, as long as he hears the sound of Zhang Yu's high heels, he can know how Zhang Yu's buttocks twist. Sure enough, a few seconds later, Zhang Yu and Dong Fei appeared at the entrance of the warehouse. "Director Hu, I'm sorry for being late. I ran a notice with Dong Fei at noon without looking at my phone." Zhang Yu quickly welcomed Hu Yueping with a smile on her face. Hu Yueping pinched the cigarette in his hand and said, "It's okay, I notified you urgently." As they spoke, Zhang Yu's eyes were fixed on Su Mu, saying, "Su Mu, it's been a long time since we last met." When Su Mu was a model at Qiming Entertainment, Zhang Yu was the company's agent, and everyone was actually old acquaintances. "Sister Yu." Zhang Yu nodded and pulled Dong Fei over from behind, saying, "Call me Brother Mu, this is your senior." Dong Fei glanced at Su Mu from top to bottom and said in a muffled voice, "Brother Mu." Su Mu nodded and smiled, "Hello." Although Dong Fei had no expression on his face, he was extremely satisfied now. "Su Mu, this is the top-tier Su Mu in the past. Do supporting role for me, who has this treatment. It's really refreshing. Have you two seen each other before? Do you want to get to know each other better? After all, we still have to film together," Hu Yueping interjected. Before Zhang Yu could speak, Dong Fei said first, "I've seen it. The time I took the film exam happened to be in the same exam room as Brother Mu." As soon as he finished speaking, the surroundings became quiet. "What's wrong with you? Take a photo exam. Isn't this poking at Su Mu's lung tube? And what you mean is that you have passed the exam, Su Mu has not. Su Mu is not angry, it's Earth Star Su Mu who failed the shadow exam. It's none of my business." Xie Chen furrowed his brow and said, "All right, since I've seen it before, I don't need to get familiar with it anymore. Let's start directly, director." Hu Yueping looked at Su Mu and then at Dong Fei, feeling that there was no need for them to become familiar with each other. "Let's go, start filming." The auditorium was filled with a crowd of actors. Almost all of them are students. Su Mu, Lin Zhaoqi, and Geng Chenhui sat in the crowd, with empty seats in front of them. According to the script, the next scene to be filmed is a performance by the male and female leads on stage, with Lu Heng and others watching as friends off stage. The previous scene where the male and female protagonists performed on stage has already been filmed. Now, it is a supplementary shot where the two come off stage and Su Mu plays Lu Heng delivering water. At this moment, the auditorium was in chaos. Almost all students are discussing. "Do you think that's Su Mu? Who is Su Mu?" When Su Mu became popular, they were still in elementary school, and now high school students have started to like the next batch of idols. "You don't even know, Su Mu. It used to be very popular, but now it seems like it's getting cold." "I don't know." At this moment, sitting in the corner, watching the monitor, Hu Yueping, who was fixated on the director's tube, shouted loudly, "Everyone is quiet, ready to start filming." Behind him, Xie Chen became nervous. After all, this is Su Mu's first scene. 15th scene, third mirror, first time, start. As the recording fell, Su Mu moved. Belief activated, target character Lu Heng. In the auditorium, background music plays. On stage, Lin Xiao played by Ning Wei and Jiang Huai played by Dong Fei began to run down. There is a camera on the scene that is constantly chasing them. A shot is directed towards the area where Su Mu is located. Nyobi, Nyobi. Gung Chenhui's classmate A stood up and cheered, with an exaggerated expression. Lin Xiao, soaring into the clouds. Lin Zhaoqi's classmate B also shouted. And Su Mu began to gaze deeply. He stuttered, there were no lines, only his eyes. Hu Yueping and Xie Chen stared closely at the monitor. Don't laugh, Xie Chen prayed in his heart. Hu Yueping felt that Su Mu's gaze in the camera had changed. From being empty to feeling like there's something extra. His gaze kept following Lin Xiao from stage to stage. His eyes were peaceful, and the corners of his mouth slightly curved, as if he was proud of Lin Xiao. Not bad, not in the play, Hu Yueping nodded and said. Quickly, Lin Xiao and Jiang Huai in the camera returned to their seats, which were in front of Lu Heng. How about it, I said you can do it. Jiang Huai said excitedly to Lin Xiao. Well, I've always wanted to do this. Lin Xiao smiled happily. Then the two exchanged a smile and the atmosphere became ambiguous. Su Mu, there is a piece of gold paper on Lin Xiao's head. Please help her take it off and pass her water. This is arranged in the script. Push the camera forward. Hu Yueping shouted. At this moment, in Su Mu's eyes, Lin Xiao seemed to have become the best girl in the world. In his eyes, everything around him disappeared, including the Jianghuai River, which he regarded as his rival in love. At this moment, she is laughing. She had a piece of paper on her head because she had just appeared on stage. She is such a heartless girl. In front of the monitor, Hu Yueping sat in a chair and casually shouted, very good, this state is good. Suddenly, Hu Yueping sat up straight, his face almost lying on the monitor screen. Oh my god. Fuck me. At first, Hu Yueping wanted to encourage Su Mu a few words, but when he looked carefully, Su Mu's eyes were really full of excitement. He seems to be filled with Lin Xiao in his heart and eyes. Yes, director, give him a few words of encouragement. Xie Chen gave Hu Yueping a thumbs up later. Hu Yueping let out a strange cry and said, encourage him, his condition is really good. Close-ups of the camera, close-ups of Su Mu. Upon hearing this, Xie Chen let out a strange cry and rushed to the monitor. In the camera, Su Mu raised and lowered his hand twice, and finally, when Lin Xiao calmed down, he gently removed the piece of paper from his head. Ning Wei turned back to look at Su Mu as written in the script. Who knew that as soon as Ning Wei turned around, she met Su Mu's affectionate eyes. Ning Wei had met Su Mu before, so the makeup Su Mu painted at this moment was nothing to her. So in her eyes at this moment, it was the handsome Su Mu looking at her affectionately. His eyes are so bright, they are all mine. Speak the words. Hu Yueping became anxious. In the script, it should be Lin Xiao asking, did you look handsome just now? And Lu Heng nodded and handed over a bottle of water. But Ning Wei surprisingly refused to speak for a long time. Why are you looking at me like this? After hesitating for 2 seconds, Ning Wei said. Card. Hu Yueping stood up from the chair. What are you doing, Ning Wei? Where did this word come from? Hu Yueping was furious. What a great shot. I don't know if Su Mu can still perform like this next time. He calculated everything, but didn't expect Ning Wei to have a problem. Ning Wei suddenly woke up and said, huh. Then her face instantly turned red and she said, 3. Director, I'm sorry. I was distracted just now. You take on the show. Hu Yueping roared. Ning Wei carefully calmed down her mood and muttered, I really can't catch it, Uncle San. His gaze. Dong Fei beside him all laughed. He didn't look back, so he didn't see Su Mu's gaze. He thought Su Mu was acting too poorly. Come again. Hu Yueping shouted. The second time, Su Mu still played steadily. Hu Yueping behind the monitor squinted his eyes. Lao Xie, has Su Mu practiced it privately? Xie Chen kept biting his finger and said, I don't know. Zhang Yu frowned on the side. She looked at the scene in the camera just now, and as long as the camera showed Su Mu, those affectionate eyes would definitely cover up Dong Fei. In the camera, this time, Ning Wei caught Su Mu's gaze. According to the script, there will also be a close dot up here. That's Lu Heng and Jiang Hui, looking affectionately at Lin Xiao who was drinking water. Su Mu still had the same gaze, but there was something in her eyes that seemed to be spoiled and joyful. Probably because Lin Xiao drank his water. So he's happy in his heart. And Dong Fei's portrayal of Jiang Hui had a somewhat dull gaze. If it weren't for Su Mu, then Dong Fei's performance would be fine. Because he has performed this scene many times, this time it's just a re-performance. But due to Su Mu's presence, he appears so fake in the camera at this moment. Dong Fei worked hard to bring a smile and indulgence to his face, but as long as his mouth moved, his eyebrows and upper corner of the eye muscles remained unchanged. According to psychology, when a person is truly happy, their eye muscles and eyebrows will undergo changes. At this moment, Dong Fei's face and Su Mu's face are like two photos in a textbook, one fake smile and the other real smile. Oh my god, it's a cult. Hu Yueping frowned. Another one. This one only takes the final close dot up. Everyone on site, except for Hu Yueping, Xie Chen, and Zhang Yu in front of the monitor, thought it was Su Mu's problem. Because there was no problem when we took photos last time. Now with the change of actor for the second male lead, the director always takes pictures one by one. Control variables. Oh, it's so annoying. Which actor always doesn't do well in filming? It must be the new second son. Dong Fei also thinks so. This Su Mu is really difficult to bring. I have been taking photos 7 times. The director is depressed. Stop for a while. He lit a cigarette and started smoking hard. What's going on? How could Su Mu perform so well? I didn't feel that Dong Fei's performance was poor before. Next to him, Xie Chen also lit a cigarette and said, I don't understand either. Give me one too, Zhang Yu's voice came in. Xie Chen looked up and said, do you also smoke? Zhang Yu gritted her teeth and said, no, I just want to bite something. What exactly is going on? Has Su Mu's acting skills become so good now? It doesn't make sense. Just as the three of them were silent, Dong Fei ran over. Director, we can't waste so much time. Hu Yueping raised his head and glanced at him, but remained silent. You shut up, Zhang Yu glared fiercely at Dong Fei. As they talked, everyone around them also leaned in. Director, why is this one so difficult to shoot? We're an online movie, we can't nitpick. Just act the main character well. Everyone around is here to persuade. After all, everyone had bad habits before. Dong Fei glanced at Zhang Yu with a look of grievance on his face and said, Sister, it's not that I'm talkative. Everyone thinks the same way. As long as the protagonist plays well, that's all. At this moment, Hu Yueping suddenly stood up and said, the person with the problem is you. Dong Fei was blinded by Hu Yueping's sudden anger. Director, did you mistake the person? Hu Yueping pointed at Dong Fei's nose and said, it's just you. Come on, look at it yourself. With Hu Yueping's roar, everyone looked over. Then everyone saw all the previous shots. The next second, everyone quieted down, followed by a quiet discussion. It seems that Su Mu's performance is more authentic. It's not that he looks real, it's that Dong Fei looks fake. Dong Fei was all confused. What is the situation? How did the clown turn into me? Just as everyone was silent, an ant wearing a cleaning uniform appeared behind the monitor. The director's monitor is located at the side door of the auditorium, and you can see it from the side door. Oh no, I haven't finished filming yet. I'm ready to clean up now. Auntie is a school staff member and has become familiar with the production team these days. Sorry, big sister. We'll finish soon. Xie Chen leaned forward. It's okay, let me take a look. I haven't seen anyone filming yet. As she spoke, Auntie put down the mop and sat aside. She stared intently or unintentionally at the screen playing on the monitor. I feel like the photo was taken quite well, but there's something wrong, suddenly the aunt said. Hu Yueping was immediately attracted by his aunt's voice and said, Sister, what do you think is wrong? Auntie thought for a moment and said, It's the male and female protagonists in your play. Why aren't they sitting next to each other, one in front and one behind? In one sentence, the whole room fell silent. Dong Fei is crazy. Hello. Don't be too outrageous, okay? I am the male lead. P.S. The new book issue is even 7,000, I can't do it. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Thank you, I was injured, please follow up and recommend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Thank you, I was injured, please follow up and recommend. The words of the cleaning lady silenced Dong Fei. I actually performed worse than Su Mu. It doesn't make sense. I've been acting like this before, there's nothing wrong with it. But the fact is, both insiders and outsiders feel that he has a problem. That should be his problem. Director, I'll do it again. Dong Fei suddenly turned his head and said to Hu Yueping. Hu Yueping happened to finish smoking a cigarette and his eyes swept over Dong Fei. He saw a flame in Dong Fei's eyes. This fire seemed to have appeared in my own eyes 3 or 4 hours ago. Well, he also ignited. Okay, let's do it again. Attention all departments, let's have one more thing. Actors in position. With the director's command, everyone who was originally standing in front of the monitor moved, but this time, the scene was very quiet. Half of the people looked at Su Mu with a puzzled expression on their faces, as if they didn't know him. The other half of the people were watching Dong Fei. Now the pressure is on Dong Fei's side. On the monitor, Su Mu was chatting with Lin Zhaoqi, their expressions relaxed. As the sound of the recording board fell, everyone saw that Su Mu's expression began to change, and his eyes gradually became affectionate. Here we go again, that's the look. The deputy director exclaimed behind Hu Yueping. This guy got into the show so quickly. Xie Chen gave Zhang Yu a fierce glance and said, Zhang Yu, go back tonight and discipline the artists under your command. Speak less in the future. Xie Chen is talking about Dong Fei's satire on Su Muying's exam today. Chen Gu is the most annoying when others fall into trouble. From the bottom of his heart, he feels that such people are not righteous. But at that time he didn't have much to say, but now Su Mu's performance has given Xie Chen the confidence. Zhang Yu's eyes flickered and he didn't refute, but whispered, I understand. Then Zhang Yu added, Chen, you can also teach me when you come back. How come after Su Mu returns to your hands, he feels like he has undergone a transformation? Xie Chen scratched his head and said, I can't teach it because I don't know either. Zhang Yu glanced at him and said, stingy. In the monitor, Dong Fei's expression was clearly very nervous, but it could be seen that he was more attentive than before. Because he adopted a flattering approach to portray this scene. Originally, in the camera, he and Su Mu were looking at Ning Wei together. This time, he propped his right elbow on the back of the chair, supported his head with his right hand, and tilted his gaze at Ning Wei. Due to the changes in his movements, he looked more relaxed, and due to the power of his palms, the corners of his eyes were slightly deformed, instead of the fake feeling he had before. Paired with a smile at the corner of the mouth. It looks relaxed and spoiled. Card. Hu Yueping stood up in front of the monitor, with a smile on his face. Dong Phase 1 is good, let's keep another one. Director, I have another way of acting. Dong Fei suddenly shouted excitedly. So, in the next hour, everyone saw a strange scene. Su Mu was like a robot, and as soon as the sound of the recording board fell, he showed his perfect and affectionate gaze, while Dong Fei jumped up and down like a monkey, using all his skills to barely keep himself from falling behind. It wasn't until 8 p.m. that the production team officially finished filming this scene. This one has passed. Let's eat together. Upon hearing Hu Yueping's words, Dong Fei collapsed into his seat, panting heavily. Sweat also began to ooze from his face. Too tired. Ning Wei also sat still in the chair, muttering something that from today on, I don't have a third uncle anymore. Su Mu took a deep breath. Finally, it was over. He was also tired sitting there, and later not only was he tired, but also hungry. But watching Dong Fei constantly changing his acting style, Su Mu suddenly found it very interesting. Just like conducting scientific research, there are many paths in every discipline. The same goes for acting. Are you okay? Su Mu stood up and asked. Dong Fei lay on the chair, looking back with his neck tilted back. When he saw clearly that the speaker was Su Mu, he suddenly sat up straight. I don't know why, he's a bit scared when he sees Su Mu now. Brother Mu. Dong Fei felt a chill on his body, and this voice was also subconsciously spoken by Brother Mu. To be honest, you're really impressive today. There are so many ways to perform an expression, Su Mu said seriously. Dong Fei was confused. Is he mocking me? He must be mocking me, because I was mocking him this afternoon. I have to fight back. You haven't learned these acting techniques, have you? Dong Fei blurted out. Su Mu thought for a moment and said, no, not really. Dong Fei's face froze directly. Is it so direct? After 2 seconds, he stuttered and asked, so. When did you practice your gaze? It took quite a long time, right? Su Mu thought for a moment and said, I just learned this afternoon. I'm leaving, I'm going to eat. I'm already hungry. After speaking, Su Mu and Lin Zhaoqi and Geng Chenhui went to pick up the boxed lunch. And Dong Fei sat in the same spot as if he had been struck by lightning. After a moment, Dong Fei's eyes turned red. He wants to cry. Why do I feel that he speaks so sincerely, while I feel so uncomfortable in my heart? After dinner, it was the second scene of the day. Dong Fei pondered 4 filming techniques, but Su Mu still had the same gaze. 1 effort reduces 10 meetings. The scene was filmed for 2 hours until 11:30 p.m. Later on, the people on site looked at Su Mu with a look that went from shock at the beginning, to numbness, and finally to confusion. He wouldn't just give this one look, would he? He hasn't changed his acting style since this afternoon. I don't know, but he said he doesn't know how to act. His eyes said he did, and he said he did. It seems like he doesn't have any other acting skills. Don't worry, let's see tomorrow. At midnight, all the group performances were picked up by parents who scolded them. Hu Yueping was standing at the entrance of the warehouse smoking one after another, his mind filled with images taken today. Online movies. The quality of these shots is on par with online movies. I took a really his mother good picture. At this moment, Su Mu is removing makeup in the dressing room. It was still Zhou Wan who removed his makeup, but she had lost all the charm of this afternoon. She saw the scene where Su Mu was filming this afternoon, so she was very disappointed. So that affectionate gaze was really portrayed. In the end, I made the wrong payment. Xie Chen ran to the dressing room one after another. Mu. What do you want to eat tonight? I'll go buy it for you. Mu. Do you want to have a drink tonight? Mu. I'll have the driver drive first, and wait for you at the warehouse entrance later. Xie Chen is very excited. Outside the warehouse, in a nanny car, Dong Fei lay on his seat as if exhausted. I finally finished filming today. He felt so tired that he was almost falling apart. Zhang Yu, who was sitting in front of him, had a smirk on her face. She took off her shoes and kicked them over, saying, "Please, don't you want to eat high heels?" Dong Fei waved his hand weakly and said, "I have no appetite." Then he suddenly sat up again and said, "Sister, I can't figure it out. Why? Why is Su Mu different from what I imagined? Isn't he lacking in acting skills?" Then Dong Fei suddenly thought of something. "Can you say that he likes Ning Wei? Ning Wei is indeed good-looking. If Su Mu likes her, then today's gaze is a genuine expression, and it's not impossible. It must be like this, otherwise Su Mu, a person who has never passed the film exam, how could he perform better than me?" Upon hearing this, Zhang Yu smiled directly, her eyes hazy as if reminiscing, "It's impossible. If a little girl can take Su Mu down, then you underestimate him too much. Moreover, Su Mu wouldn't like a little girl who has only seen one side. He's not someone who is casually in love." Dong Fei seemed to smell something and suddenly came to his senses, saying, "Sister, I think there's a story. Please tell me more." Zhang Yu propped up her chin and said, "I've told you before, you don't know how Su Mu's face was killed in the modeling industry back then. Do you know how many wealthy women are vying for him? There are also good-looking women inside." Dong Fei furrowed his brow. He was impressed by Su Mu's appearance, but he's notorious for not having intelligence. Zhang Yu licked her lips and sneered. "You're still young, you don't know how popular this good-looking and brainless person is in the wealthy community. P.S. Chapter 2 is being revised. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Selection of songs for, questioning the past, seeking follow-up reading, seeking recommendation, seeking collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Selection of songs for, questioning the past, seeking follow-up reading, seeking recommendation, seeking collection. Dong Fei followed Zhang Yu's train of thought for a moment. Rich woman, still a good-looking rich woman. He let out a direct hiss. How did Su Mu resist temptation for so many years? Zhang Yu sighed and said, "Although Su Mu is very stupid, he is indeed very honest." Speaking of which, Zhang Yu suddenly turned around, picked up the bag in her hand, and threw it at Dong Fei. "So, do you know that if Su Mu wants to open up, even if he doesn't approach wealthy women and returns to the modeling industry, he can still make a living? Can you be handsome enough to pass Su Mu? What's your way out? Now that Su Mu can act, you're still crazy here. I don't know what your surname is when you play the protagonist." Zhang Yu stabbed Dong Fei like a knife, sentence by sentence. "Just make people silly. Sister, I know I was wrong." Dong Fei let out a strange cry as he was hit by his bag. At this moment, Su Mu walked out of the warehouse entrance. After finishing her makeup and changing back into her own clothes, Su Mu left the warehouse. Glancing around, his car hadn't arrived yet, so he called Xie Chen. "Mu, walk outside the playground, we'll be there soon." Hanging up the phone, Su Mu saw director Hu Yueping squatting at the warehouse door. He muttered something like a comeback. "Director, I'm back." "Oh, Su Mu, hurry back and rest. My assistant will send you tomorrow's schedule later." Hu Yueping is becoming more and more pleased with Su Mu now. "Tomorrow you won't have many scenes, but I suggest you come and take a look." After all, Hu Yueping is a director. He can see today that although Su Mu's eye contact is very good for some reason, there are too few changes in his performance. Although Su Mu's performance today was completely beyond his imagination, there is no end to learning. He wants to take Su Mu with him. "Okay, I'll wait for your notification tomorrow." "Okay, come back." Farewell to the director, Sumu walked towards the entrance of the playground. After walking a few steps, Sumu suddenly felt something in his pocket pricking him. What kind of thing? Sumu took out something from his pocket and saw that it was a character biography he had written this morning, with several pieces of paper folded together. So it becomes stiff. Just now, it was a paper corner that pricked him. He can't use this character's biography anymore, he has already memorized it in his mind. So Sumu found a trash can and casually threw it in. Sister, what did he throw? It's like a note. From the moment Sumu came out, Dong Fei and Zhang Yu in the nanny's car kept their eyes fixed on him. Until he saw him throw something like a note into the trash can, Dong Fei started screaming strangely. He is a bit neurotic now. Because he couldn't believe a person who failed the film exam 3 days ago, and now his acting skills are so good. And everyone seems to have a bit of a desire to pry into the privacy of others. I'll go take a look. Dong Fei watched as Sumu walked up the chartered car, disappearing into the darkness, and then tiptoed off the nanny car. Because there were too many group performances on the playground today, the trash can was already filled with disposable paper cups, and those folded papers were at the top of the garbage heap. Hurry up, Zhang Yu poked her head out of the car window, feeling quite guilty. Dong Fei quickly ran to the trash can, picked up those few pieces of paper, and didn't care to run back. He opened it and looked at it. The formation of Lu Heng's personality. Lu Heng's family atmosphere. The paper was densely packed with homework done by Sumu. Lying down. Dong Fei's eyes widened instantly. What was written above? At this moment, a voice appeared in Dong Fei's ear. The character biography. Sumu surprisingly made such a detailed character biography. Dong Fei instinctively replied. Then he suddenly felt something was wrong. Why did that sound like a man's voice just now? Dong Fei raised his head, and what appeared in his eyes was Hu Yueping's big face. Hu Yueping also watched Sumu leave just now, so he also saw Sumu throwing a note. Let me see. Hu Yueping snatched the paper from Dong Fei's hand. The more he looked at Hu Yueping, the wider his eyes widened, and in the end, his hands began to shake. No wonder Sumu performed so well today. It turns out that he has done so much homework privately. On the other hand, Dong Fei felt a slight burning on his face at this moment, but his heart was cooling. Zhang Yu's words just now lingered in his ear. Sumu is someone who has reached the top position and can still maintain a stable relationship between men and women. Even if he's in a mess now, if he can go out freely, he still has a way out. And I am a person who has just debuted and is still climbing hills. Can you ask yourself, how did they do it and how did I do it when dealing with D.type scripts? I was mocking him today. I'm so damn it, me. A person's diligence should not be ridiculed, even if he doesn't achieve particularly good results. A pretty good child, he must have been squeezed by the Star Company that day and had no time to think about doing homework, Hu Yueping sighed sincerely. Director, I'm also thinking about the characters, Dong Fei said in a muffled voice. Okay, I'll go back and study the camera. Speaking, Hu Yueping put those few pieces of paper into his pocket. At this moment, the director and male lead of this D.type script seemed to have the determination and consciousness of a top-tier crew. On the other hand, Sumu and Xie Chen had a late-night snack together and then returned to the apartment. Because there might still be a scene tomorrow, Xie Chen didn't let Sumu drink, but instead brought a box of beer back to his own room. After returning to room 502 and closing the door, Sumu felt a strong sense of exhaustion. This artist is not that easy to become either. After changing her shoes, Sumu lay down on the sofa, feeling dizzy for a while, reminiscing about everything today. This is his first day crossing over. Unexpectedly, it feels a bit fulfilled. I submitted a song and even filmed a play. By the way, I also submitted a song. Su-mu quickly got up and opened the computer. The first time someone submits, they can't help but look at the backstage news. I logged on to the music website and looked at my back end, but there was no news. Su-mu simply strolled around the forum section again. At night, this forum is very lively. Once refreshed, 7 or 8 new posts appear. Maybe all the artists are night owls. Su-mu looked at it with boredom. Suddenly, he saw a post. Chiming Entertainment Xie Chen, 3 minutes ago. Big shots, do you have songs that don't require high singing skills? I have an artist under my command who wants them, and the price is negotiable. This artist was delayed a few years ago due to some issues, but in fact, his voice is good and he is obedient. Let the big shots adjust him as they please. Chen-gu begged for a song on the forum. And judging from this description, it seems like it's me. Is it because I mentioned today that I wanted to write a song? Su-mu clicked in, but surprisingly someone was already replying below. Brother, if you don't have high singing skills, don't become a singer anymore. Now that you are skilled in various fields, it's better to let him practice his singing skills when you have time to seek help from others. Tianxing Entertainment Xiao Kun said, Chen, let's drink again. I know who you're talking about. I know his singing skills, but he can't sing. A pile of replies downstairs. Who? This person's words will definitely make you laugh. 1 second later, Xie Chen deleted the post. Su-mu sighed. Xie Chen is really good to him, but unfortunately his singing skills are also really poor now. Forget it, otherwise there might be a chance to practice my voice too. Half an hour later, Su-mu lay in bed and fell into a deep sleep. And in Jingzhou, thousands of miles away, the members of the Wengu program team are still awake. At the meeting room of the program team 4, questioning the past, 3 people were yawning as they began screening submissions from the past few days. The leader is an elderly man in his 50s, named Meng Xiyan, who is responsible for collecting songs for the program Wengu. There are 2 men and women next to him, both of whom are his students. At this moment, the 3 of them are watching the submissions one by one. Teacher, there are fewer and fewer manuscripts now, and it's probably almost saturated, the female student asked. Well, and the quality is getting worse and worse. Today they have watched more than 10 songs, not a single one caught their eye. Teacher, look at this one, there's rap here, the male student suddenly said excitedly. Oh. Ancient poetry and rap. I'll read you the lyrics, the male student cleared his throat. Watch the sunset slowly disappear along the valley, and see the yellow river surging towards the sea. I want to see the scenery further away, so I look around and climb towards the peak, becoming stronger. At first, Meng Xiyan had some interest, but later his mood declined. This word is average, there's nothing special about it. Teacher, guess what the name of this song is? The male student chuckled. Call it, Climbing the Stork Tower. The male student finally couldn't help but laugh out loud. This lyrics translates the 20 words: the day is on the mountain, the yellow river flows into the sea, I want to be poor for thousands of miles, I want to reach a higher level into vernacular Chinese and add rhyme. What nonsense! Meng Xiyan glared angrily at the students. Isn't this just adding some plain water to the things of our ancestors? Although this word is not bad, it does not meet the requirements of Wengu. As he spoke, he clicked on the next submission. Acacia, lyrics, fools. Composing, fool. Acacia, also known as Acacia, is a lyrical poetry section. Among the 10 submissions, 5 songs are called Acacia. Also, what is the pen name, Fool? Then, Meng Xiyan opened the accompaniment and simultaneously looked at the score and lyrics. End of this chapter.